Welcome back, everyone, to Lesser Known Operators. I'm your host, Nicholas Allen, and my guest today is Kevin Pip, coming to us all the way from Kruger National Park in northeastern South Africa. Kevin is a wildlife conservationist, an adventurer, safari CEO of Wild Works, WERX, and former Green Beret. I'll have links to his socials and website in the show description. As always, today's episode is brought to you by the Green Beret owned business, Precision Wellness Group, and Dr. Taylor Bosley, said Green Beret. Precision Wellness Group helps you fuel your momentum through bioidentical hormone therapy and evidence-based personalized telemedicine. Dr. Taylor Bosley is a board certified physician, a U.S. Army veteran, and a former Green Beret. Again, and a doctor who can prescribe you actual medicine. So if hormone replacement therapy, peptides, TRT, HRT is something you've been thinking about for a while now, or just looking into, look no further than Precision Wellness Group and Dr. Taylor Bosley. I'll have links to their websites and socials in the show description, along with Kevin Pip. I like saying that. I do appreciate you guys. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, comment, pass these episodes along. Thank you for listening. Leave us a review and enjoy the show. Kevin Pip, welcome to Lesser Known Operators, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. I appreciate you scheduling coming all the way from, you're in Kruger National Park right now, right?
Yep. Outside my window right now is the wilds of the park. Yes, I'm in the Kruger, on the edge of the Kruger National Park. South Africa is where I live nowadays.
That's absolutely crazy to me, but it's a real thing. Everywhere is people live everywhere, and everywhere that you live is somewhere that people vacation to. And then where you go on vacation, you just go to normal places now. When you gotta travel somewhere, you're going like a small town in America. You're like, oh well, I gotta go on a trip, and you live where people go on vacation. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's actually, I take it for granted nowadays. I have the wildlife just so casually outside all the time, but most people never get to see it. So it's kind of a weird living in it kind of thing. Coming back to America is a culture shock for me now. It's such a weird kind of coming from this to that now.
Very different countries of South Africa and America. And I mean, the food, some of the language, but yeah, it's not the same. And I like South Africa. You just got to stay vigilant at all times, because you are always just a couple seconds away from getting murdered, I think.
Yeah, that it isn't not true. It's kind of like I run a safari company, so I do tourists for a living. It isn't. It's a massive country, 14th largest country in the world for landmass. To give you an idea, it's huge. You were to put it onto size comparison, let's say it's the whole eastern seaboard of the US. So we're right now sitting in North Carolina and saying like, oh man, the crime's really bad in Savannah. I'm like, who cares? We're in North Carolina. So yes, crime statistics in South Africa are terrible. We also have like 30% of the population unemployed or higher. So black on black crime is for the roof. But if you're a well-off person like we seem to be, and you're in the higher tax bracket, you're kind of completely removed from that world, which is one of the things that is bad about South Africa. It's like the poverty to the riches. There's no middle line. Unfortunately, I'm well off and retired, so I live in a place where I have no bars on my window, my doors aren't locked, and I've got armed security that patrol my estate. No one's going to rob me. But if I lived in Joburg in the township, life's not so good, and chance of being robbed are higher. So yeah, it's like the US. It just depends where you go, right? Good neighborhoods are good neighborhoods, bad neighborhoods, bad neighborhoods. But I will say in South Africa, it is a little more wild. Um, on like the current failing countries of the world, Nigeria and South Africa score around the same. Just South Africa has a bit more robust government system, but only barely. So like the police and military are like, which allows a lot of crazy wildness to go on, like bandits and gangs with AKs and machine guns robbing banks. So there's definitely a spiciness in the background going on here.
Yeah, the private security, they'll come and save you, but the police, I don't think they're going to show up.
It's by design. Now I've lived here for going on 6, 7 years. It's almost like for it to be a criminal mafia state, which South Africa is in a way, you almost need to have a dysfunctional police service. And you also need to gut out your military so you can't enforce your borders, which allows illegal smuggling of cigarettes and humans and whatnot to like kind of proliferate. And the government of South Africa that's in charge is highly invested into all them illegal things. And year by year, I watched them dismantle the police more and more and more. So I think some of it's by design, unfortunately, because of the corruptness of the country. They're still really good police, but unfortunately, the vast majority just don't get paid enough, and they're infiltrated by crime networks.
Yeah. What's the first lesson I got on the police was when I was going at a high rate of speed through, I don't know, probably maybe the Free State. And my father-in-law is like, just give him 100 rand and he'll let you go. Like, what do you mean give him 100 rand? Is that like to pay the fine? I was like, no, he's just pulling you over for a bribe. It's like, oh, are you serious? Yeah. Okay. Well, that worked. Does that work everywhere? No, that doesn't work in Cape Town, but it works everywhere else. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
it doesn't
okay,
work in
interesting.
Joburg so much. Cape Town's a big city. That I'm in the rural bush though, so you're. It's not like America where a cop pulls you over, gets on the computer system, and can check your tickets for the country. This is rural, man. A cop's gonna pull you over, and they're gonna take you to the local police station to process you. He works for minimum wage. Just give him some cash. Like, or I can pay my ticket right now, sir. Right? And they're like, I will be like, yeah, give it to me, and you can be on your way. Um, it's kind of a known thing here, which is convenient when you get pulled over and you're in a hurry. You can just pay and get going. Unlike America, where you're stuck for 2 hours while they like go through your stuff, give you a court date. It's just a nightmare. But same, right? The same way that you're allowed to play the police and get on your way again is the same way that criminals get on their way again, which is why they're on the road. So it's kind of like convenient, but also allows the crime to be the way it is.
Yeah, you can't be very hypocritical when you take advantage of the system as
I
well
know.
on your side.
Yes, exactly.
But you, as you said, you're out there. You're in the back in the country, not as far as you can get because you get a lot of visitors, right? There's even more secluded areas than Kruger, right?
Um, yeah, so I like South Africa particularly because it's very like the West. I've got all my amenities. My house is very Western. I'm literally on the edge of the park, so 2,000 square miles. It's the size of Israel. It goes into Zimbabwe and Mozambique is a free flowing park with no fence. I mean, I can walk for days that way. Um, it's wild for South Africa, but not as wild as say like going up into Uganda or towards Kenya on the top side and stuff like that. Or Zambia. Zambia is really wild, really undeveloped. It's one of the last few places like great mega herds of elephants, last tuskers, massive herds of lions, prides of lions, sorry, amateur hour.
Professional conservationist messing
Damn
up
it,
his term.
busted.
I knew he was fake. I knew he sounded too good to be true. But
But I mean, the wilderness is actually a big reason why I'm here. Like, I love the wilderness post-military. Um, I've got friends that live in Alaska, but it's bloody cold and I don't like the cold. So like Africa is my next best option. And if you haven't told by my accent, I'm British born and raised. So growing up British, Africa is a very big part of our upbringing. There's a lot of romanticism with it, a lot of like the great white, um, the Tusker hunters of the old days, collecting ivory and tiger from the kingdom. So I kind of grew up with that like notion post-military, I guess, with my PTSD to run away to Africa, just like all the other great adventurers did before me.
you've got a heavily South African British accent. That's for sure.
You got to blend in, man. You know that.
Yeah. Oh, I do not. I do not blend in at all. Where were we in? Uh, Not over in the wine country or something, and this college student bumped into me. And he starts speaking to me in Afrikaans, and I only really know a couple phrases, and one of them is "I don't speak Afrikaans," and I say it in Afrikaans, and they look at me. I was like, "No, man, I don't speak. I speak English." Like, I don't. It's like, "What are you doing here?" I was like, "I'm just hanging out, drinking." Back when I was drinking down there. So I don't blend in at all. I'll walk into the shop. They'll go "Ho-hundred," and I'll be like, I don't know what that means, man.
Goedemorgen.
Yeah.
It's a
I
very
was like, yeah.
it's an interesting one here because people ask like, why don't I speak Afrikaans? I can speak enough to get by my introductions. I can hear when shit's being talked. I'm like, wait a minute, you guys are talking about me right now. But English is the language of the country. We have at least 14 different languages here. So English is a universal. Most places you go speak enough English to get by, and most of the signs are in English. Afrikaans is spoken by not the white population, is spoken by the white Boer population, which are the old Dutch descendants. And then the other side of the white population is your British descendants speaking English. And then you have all the various black tribes speaking Zulu and Songa and everything else. But English is kind of like the universal tongue here in South Africa, which I like, followed by Afrikaans, and then Zulu is kind of like the uniting one between us all.
Yeah, Zulu and Xhosa after that, I
Yeah,
think.
if you
But
know the main ones, it's like Spanish and like Spanish, right? If you can speak Spanish, you could probably speak to most Hispanic people, broadly speaking. Same as Zulu for here.
yeah, and then once you get out where you're at, I mean, it could be any number of different things and dialects and stuff like that, and then people
Yeah,
can't
up towards the
understand one another.
vendors. So South Africa's got a really interesting history, especially when I first moved here. And it's like post-apartheid, blacks and whites, but that's not the whole story. There's so many other different religions and cultures here. So it really is a massive melting pot of people vying for power and language. So it's quite complex here. And like, the language changes across the country as you go. So I am, for the Americans listening, I'm in Alabama. That's the best way to put it. So I moved from England to America, served in the army, and I spent a lot of my time stationed in Georgia. I hunt and fish, so it's like a very good old boy network, right? Hunting dogs, hunting hogs with dogs and shotguns and fishing and like having bonfires in the woods, shooting guns and like that kind of vibe. South Africa, where I am in the countryside, is very like that. Everyone's got pickup trucks and they're all hunting. We drink brandy, so it's very much like the South in the US kind of vibe. I feel.
Nothing wrong with that. It sounds,
Right? Yeah, you just fit
I,
right in, right? If you like that, if you can shoot guns and drink brandy, you're good, man.
and it's tough to describe. Like the exchange rate is right now favorable, very favorable for the dollar to the rand. What is it, 18 or 19, something like that?
Yeah, I want to say somewhere between 17 to 19 going up and down, which is pretty good. So I go back and forth from America frequently. So I was just back a month ago. Took my family out for breakfast. Cost almost, well, it did plus a tip, over $300, which blew my mind. That's insane for a bunch of carbs and crap. So I can go have a steak, proper steak dinner here with potato, nice cold draft beer, and it'll cost me about 120 rand, about $12, $15 for a meal, a proper good meal with a beer. So you get your values worth here on the dollar.
Yeah, it's quite the difference. Quite the difference. But you guys got all the biltong and Durivor shops there. I can't get
Oh,
enough of those.
they do it right here. So American jerky is terrible. Beef jerky in America is terrible because we process it. So to keep it from going bad, like we do with everything in America, we pump chemicals into it and you can taste it. Every time I go back and try it, I'm really disgusted. Here it's dried meat and they just air dry it. It's kind of got like a juicy, moist inside, and the seasoning flavors are really good. So yeah, there's a whole different meat game here with the dry meats.
I'm gonna go book some tickets after I get off this flight and go out and get some just for that. Love that
Yeah,
stuff.
man, I
It
know
always
a
gets
guy.
confiscated at the airport.
Come see me up here in the wild. It's funny, yeah, it always gets confiscated. So I was traveling back a few years back and one of the airport dogs got me and I was like, oh no. I'm like, oh no. It was just actually just some biltong in the bag. So I was like, oh, thank God for that.
he he didn't find the drugs.
Oh my God, so close. Get out of here, dog. Shoot.
Allegedly. Oh, man, but that's got to be great, man. Waking up in the wild every day and
I
just
want to talk about mental health and resilience post service. And you as well. I've got lots of military friends. I've seen some that do really poorly, some that do okay, and some that do really well. You've got some interesting characters on the channel too. But for me, like getting away from the hustle and bustle of just the Western world to this, I wake up to lions roaring. I go to bed to lions roaring. There's leopards outside my house. I know all the wildlife around my house because they're all my neighbors. It's not just like random. It lives with me. So I can go to work and see the same giraffe, like, hey, bro, I know you. So I get to kind of interact with all this wildlife and see them live their lives and do unusual things, which really has like changed my whole perspective on what's important in the world and where we belong and what we as a species came from and we've so badly lost and disconnected ourselves from. And now we kind of wander around wondering why we're unhappy and desperately trying to find it. Like the wilderness, man. We come from this. I'm on the circadian rhythm a lot too, so I wake up at 4 or 5. No alarm clocks for years, and I'm in bed by 7 or 8. Like I get tired once the sun goes down. There's no reason to kind of. I want to get up again in the morning. So like, my rhythms and my sleep is great. The food here is really good, so I eat good. Yeah, it's just a whole holistic living kind of vibe of being here.
Just walk outside and there's a giraffe kind of pretending to hide
Yeah,
behind a tree and giving you who's that?
if we get lucky, something might go by the window, and I'll quickly move the camera and show you out. But I got zebra outside, giraffes, impalas, 12 leopards that live around my estate where I am, lots of hyenas. The lions are all over the damn place. And then everything else, snakes, lizards, scorpions, you name it, everything's here in abundance. Wild
You don't
dogs.
get you don't get a hard time for saying zebra. I get a hard time for saying zebra at my house. Zebras, yeah. It's not zebra, it's zebra. Like, okay, come on. It's okay. Black and white horse. It's fine. It'll be fine. All right. It's, as I said last night in my little clip, that's just the dream job. I might get out there, you know. I say it's my dream job. Maybe it is or was at one time in my head. I might get out there and be like, this sucks, but I don't think so. That just seems like completely disconnected from everything and just totally just hanging out with the animals and trying to be one with nature. That sounds like the best to me.
Yeah, it's kind of where I'm at right now. So now I own and operate a safari company. So now my job is to take Western tourists around the world and experience these amazing experiences in African bush. Prior to this, I came to Africa to be a wildlife ranger and kind of got involved with wildlife conservation, did all my certifications. Then I became a professional trainer of rangers in Africa. So I get to travel to national parks and remote places in the wild and then train these men and women in these places. I do a lot of right seat rides, so I understand the job, so I can better provide training to these people. So I've gone on a lot of follow ups and I guess into contact, we call it nowadays, right? Like we're following armed groups with AKs of rhino poaching until we make contacts and arrests or kind of finishing the job, whatever you want to call that. But so
Whatever.
that was really good. And then yeah, I kind of transitioned from that into wildlife conservation over my career. But the same thing, I'm still in the bush, I'm still in the wilds, but absolutely love it. The ranger job, though, I will say, it's romanticized. So if it wasn't for the fact I was retired medically and had some paycheck, I would never be able to do this because being a ranger in Africa makes it's absolute bomb money. It's poor white kids and Africans that run it because they don't get paid their money's worth. But the guys and girls I work with are passionate wildlife conservationists. They believe in the cause, but the pay is kind of shitty. On the wildlife conservation side, when I'm a professional conservationist, like I said, it's a little better because now I'm being paid for my knowledge in the field. But the real money's in safari, right? Because I'm tourism. That's what I'm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
a
know,
lot of people have reached out to me just to want to come out and be a ranger and live in the field. Like, no, you don't. It's you guys. You've been to Fort Knox or Benning or Georgia, like in the summertime. Welcome to that. It's hot as hell. You've got basic equipment. You're in an area with big five, so elephant, rhinos, lions, leopards, buffalo, all the things that want to kill you, and you're out there 24/7, little pay, underappreciated. Um, I definitely got what I wanted out of it. I got the taste of it. I did my a little stint of it, but yeah, it's a young man's game. If you want to be a ranger, you need to come out here in like your mid 20s and just do like a couple of years. But everyone leaves if they're not African.
yeah. Well, everything is not as great as it always seems because you only see little clips of everything. And I mean, if
You
South
have to have a
Africa
passion
didn't
for it.
have if South Africa didn't have the word South in front of it, nobody'd be able to find it on a map. And be like, oh, I gotta know where this one is. I think it's down at the bottom. But yeah, and I was the same way before I started going there. So, and again, you know, you only see the best things like the websites and social media and everything. You only see like, oh, that looks badass. In reality, most jobs fucking suck.
Yeah, it's very much like my like if you go back to my old Instagram, what I post is the best part of it, right? Like it's out with the rhinos, it's out following tracks, it's sunny days, everything's perfect, everyone's smiling. It's not like middle of summer, 100+ degrees, no one dropped water, we're lost, someone died yesterday, like rhinos are dead all around you. Like when the reeks are bad, it's really bad. So these rangers stay in these jobs also for 10, 20 years because it's consistent pay like the military, and they'll stay and they'll stay. There's a lot of PTSD in it because you're dealing with lost friends, moral injury, right? Getting effed over by the people you work for consistently. And then just the PTSD that comes from being out in the bush 24/7. It's like I like it because I was at 18 Charlie and before that 12 Bravo. So I like landmines and I've cleared many of minefields, IED lanes. Like when you're in it with a mine detector and you're like trying to find this thing that's about to kill you, you're alive, man. Like adrenaline is going, but it's focused and controlled adrenaline, and like you're literally looking for this thing that's about to kill everyone. If you miss it, we all die. There's no more focus in that. Same for this job. When you're tracking at night, about to bump into poachers, have AKs, you might bump into lions, elephants, buffalo, all of them will kill you. Like all of your senses are alive. You're smelling, you're hearing, like you're a buzz, and like, yeah, that's you're literally doing that human thing where we hunt. And that for me is a very thrilling, intoxicating thing, which is why I think most people want the ranger profession. But I'm here to tell you that doesn't happen very much. Most of the time, it's just endless walking around, just like this sucks. Every now and then, you get that 15 seconds or 15 minutes of excitement, but it's far and few between, really.
You kind of broke down like the gutting of the police force and like the government. Government's not the best there, but where is the money coming from to pay for these people to be counter poachers or protect herds and things like that? Where's
Yeah,
that money
so
coming from?
I'll talk about just right now. Africa is a massive continent. Every country is different, but I like South Africa. We have one of the best kind of anti-poaching operations on the continent from all my experience. Um, if it's a national park, it belongs to the country of South Africa. Then they are national park rangers for the country. So the country pays them. South Africa assigns money, but never enough. But as a national park like Kruger, you fundraise. So they are sponsored by WWF, national banks, like massive outside money. On the private side here, so I live around the private reserves, um, some of the biggest, most high-end reserves in South Africa, like the cream of the cream, they pay personally for their rangers. So it varies from park to park. You might go to a park on the other side of the country where there's no tourism, but they still need security. You're going to get what you pay for. And then on this side where I am, oh, these guys have MVGs, thermals, night vision, helicopters, dogs. I mean, it's an assault team. It's basically a mobile force ready to be deployed as needed into the park. Some of the best trackers in the business, like these here, we track to contact. Very rarely do you get land in and like, oh, here's the fight. It's like you land, you find the tracks, and now we're gonna track this until contact. So hunting like a pack of dogs, track to track to track to track until you close the distance and then like come together.
What are the laws on contact? When I was down there so I was in Bloemfontein in
Yeah, no Bloemfontein. Yeah.
2016, and I was talking to this guy. He was a recce, and he was talking, and I'm listening to him. I was like, this guy's a fucking killer. This guy knows. And he's talking about his rhinos, and he goes, yeah, it's, I'm out here the day before a full moon, the full moon, and the day after. We've got drones. I've got people on the perimeter. And he says he spends about $1 million a year to keep his two, now he's got 3 rhinos alive. Beautiful animals. And very expensive. And I was like, this guy knows what he's talking about. But that's what it takes to keep these things alive. He says, yeah, people will come to the fence and they'll try and get through. And what did he say? He said, we are not allowed to shoot them preemptively. If they shoot at us, we can return fire because we're defending ourselves. Or the rhino, he was joking. He said the rhino can return fire also if it gets shot. The rhino can defend itself. That's legal. What are your guys' rules of
So I
engagement
mean,
to not
so
get in trouble?
yeah, the rules of engagement. Sorry, once again, I train rangers professionally in the business. It's my job to know. Just like there's a guide, there's a almost like an FM 7-8 for ranging here. It's called our SERA, so basically our private security industry regulations. It sets all the rules for South Africa. So no matter where you are, it's the same. Um, Trying to think of how to explain this to people I've never heard before. We'll get into kind of the kill chain first. Let's talk about what a rhino poacher is. A rhino poacher isn't just someone that jumped a fence with a gun to shoot a rhino. But we're talking about transnational crime. The country has said that do not shoot the rhino. They are endangered. It's a felony. It's the most worst thing you can do. Like it's like shooting an eagle in America and selling it to China. So crime. You as a criminal have to go and steal a high-powered rifle from a farm, 4.58, 3.75, and you're an elephant gun. You've basically got to do a home invasion. All home invasions end in usually a killing or a murder of the couple. Then you take the firearms and the ammunition to commit the crime. So one crime committed, stolen firearm. If we just caught you on the road alone, you're going to jail for a stolen firearm. So now you're going to come to a national park, jump the fence, breaking and entering. You're now going to elude arrest by a ranger force who are armed and lawful, a police force, right? Let's say they don't arrest you. Now you're going to kill a protected animal, felony. You're going to cut off the horn, another felony. Now you're removing it from the national park. Then you're getting into a stolen car. Now we're transporting. Then you're going to sell it to an intermediary. So now you've got this whole chain of crimes that have happened. It's not just a rhino poaching. It's a crime chain. So that's why they're punished for what they do. So now let's step back from the crime chain. You're a anti-poaching ranger tasked with protecting a reserve. Someone has jumped your fence into the reserve. Crime has been committed. Right away, crime. Are they armed? Yes. Now there's a crime with intent for murder. Intent to murder a ranger and intent to murder wildlife, which is protected. So now a ranger force can move to interdict you. They will always give a warning first, like, hey, drop the gun. Most people 50-50, either going to drop the gun and take off. Actually, I'll give them three. Drop the gun and take off, drop the gun and fight, or they're just going to flee, right? Or they're going to keep running with the gun quite often. They'll take off running with the gun still. So now it's like ROE changes, right? Do I want to chase the guy with a gun? Like, no, I want the canines now. Give me the Malinois, give me the hounds, right? We'll release the dogs first, and then we'll go get you. Quite often, though, these encounters happen at close range, especially during the summertime when it's green and dense. Rangers very quietly sneaking along, tracking. Suddenly, like, you come into a clearing and everyone is 10 feet away. So quite often in that initial melee, if you raise a gun, the Rangers are good to kill you. They can't. It's like Afghanistan, man. If I just see you running away at a distance, I can't just shoot you. Like, what if you're in the park lost? So there is a whole engagement thing. Even for the guiding industry on the civilian side, they're carrying firearms for wildlife. I know a guide a year ago that killed a rhino poacher. They were walking in the Kruger with guests, and they bumped into poachers. The poachers must have thought they were rangers. So the poacher turned around, pointing the gun at the guest, and this guide blasted him with a 4.58, turned him inside out, essentially. But yeah. Oh yeah, apparently the guide is a guide, man. They're in the safari business, not in the man killing business. So blasting someone with a 4.58 at close range, but that's far and few between. That doesn't happen. But when we talk about national parks, so Kruger's massive, 2,000 square miles. That is a big space to protect with around 500 rangers. So they're the name of the game for the poachers is to get in the park and be undetected, and you can do it because it's really big. On some of the smaller parks, you might operate like 5,000 hectares or so. It's pretty big still, but it's smaller. So there you're getting incursions that you can detect, and it becomes like this game of like cat and mouse trying to get them in and out. But rhinos in South Africa are a pain in the ass, man. Unfortunately, they came back from the brink of extinction, and now there's a lot of corruption involved with it. Even people that own rhinos, if you are part of a national park, why do you own a rhino? Because it costs you money. It's a pain in the butt to have, and all it does is attract trouble. The reason to own a rhino is that one day you might be able to sell the horn.
Everybody's
So like,
got a reason.
yeah, so it's a weird one, yeah. But the rhinos unfortunately have taken an absolute hammering. They will never be extinct fully because the last ones that are left are under a massive wall of protection right now, like the last of the last. But unfortunately, I don't think the numbers will get back to where they used to be, where they're just thousands of them walking around.
Yeah, well, not in South Africa and America, but in some countries, apparently they cure cancer, on a horn or something like that.
So that's a medicinal. Yeah. So for everyone that's listening that wonders why the rhino horn poaching sing, it's an interesting history. So it's made from keratin. It's the same material as our nails on our fingers. It grows like a nail too, so it grows over time. So traditional Chinese medicine, there's power in the rhino horn, and I understand why. Like, you came from China as an emissary hundreds of years ago to Africa, and suddenly there's this armored creature with a big freaking 6-foot horn. You can't kill it with a spear. It's killing Africans. When they mate for 30 minutes at a time. So like, there's a lot of like, man, if I take that horn as an aphrodisiac, I will too will be able to like hump like the rhino and be strong. So it became symbolic in Chinese medicine. A couple of hundred years ago, like, not many people knew about it, but nowadays with social media, everyone knows about it. So now social media has driven a demand for it, which is unsustainable. It's like not possible.
It's unfortunate, and
It's
we'll
really
see.
sad. It's
Maybe some
super
things
sad
will
for
go
me
out of
because
style, but
so the problem with, I don't think you'll go out of style because it's not everyone that uses it. It's to do with China's rising upper class population. It's a status symbol Because imagine we're all at a party having fun, we're all hungover. I'm like, I got something. I break out this rhino horn. Everyone's like, that's illegal. But man, that's really cool that Kev got that. Like, how did you get that? I know a guy. Status symbol. So let's say we was like last year or a few years ago, decade, there's only 100 people trying to do that. Now status symbol flexing on Instagram is everything, as you well know. So now like everyone that's got the money wants to flex a rhino horn now. So it's a completely unsustainable, stupid driven market. And what sucks about the rhino, they evolved over millennia to be a big armored tank that nothing can kill, you know? So they don't run away from anything. You just go out there and shoot them and blast them. They squeak and whine horribly when they're wounded. It's the most heart-wrenching thing ever. So that's the sad thing about it. Just blasting this big, innocent, kind of just like happy-go-lucky creature into.
Yeah, they're yeah, they're it's like when you see a hippo, right? You're like, oh, it's just a big round ball. The hippos are mean. So
Nah,
rhinos
no,
can be
I'll
pretty
take
mean
that.
too.
Hippo rhinos can be mean, but relatively good. Hippos are murder beasts. Hippos kill so many people in Africa. Like even around here, hippos are murderous. One of the most dangerous things I can deal with on foot here is probably the hippos and the buffalo.
It's so wild, you know. It's just a completely different place you're in. It's a different time. Also, do you just feel like you're stepping right back into the past when you get back there?
Yeah, so the park is very raw and they keep like that for the heritage. So you have that heritage feeling they keep. And then I'm just in a rural South African area. The main economy is hunting, safari business, or farming. Like I said, very Alabama, Tennessee kind of good old boy network. I'm one of the biggest towns in the north, kind of for the area, but I'm basically the gateway to Safari and Kruger. I'm a four-way stop town, but everyone's local. So everyone kind of knows everyone. So if I go to town to get groceries, I bump into everyone. Even my friends that come and say, you know everyone. I'm like, I don't think I do as much as just the way town is set up to pull people in from the wilds, but I really like that kind of. It reminds me of base in the old days, man, when you were on camp and you know everyone. Like, what's up, man? Like, oh, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Like, I come out to America and no one says crap to me. No one knows who I am and what I do. So for those of us that serve in the military, where everyone's like, oh, it's Kev. Like, oh, I'm serving it. Like, here the Rangers know me, conservationists know me. Like, I feel very like I'm with my people here. Also, everyone's in the business of nature and kind of the value of this. Is why we live here. So everyone talks about the same things, the same passions, and it's really rewarding to be in a place where everyone cares about the wildlife we live with. Because I go to places where people have lost why we should care, and they're the people that who are unhappy and probably are in the city wondering why like it's all falling apart. Like when you can't have compassion towards something else other than human and why you should care, like it's kind of hard to explain things to you know, like well, can't get that.
One thing you know, I kind of see the other side of it, but is there have any visibility on the raising money to protect the animals sort of things like the conservation, like when you see somebody that shot a lion or that shot an elephant, and I see that now and I go, oh, that money probably went to, you know, keep a village alive or keep a herd alive. Is that anything
No,
you have
unfortunately,
any?
it's not. It's so I grew up hunting and fishing. I've blasted a lot of things here. I'm not gonna go through my list in case people are like, Kev, what? But I have hunted and fished and I do believe in it, so don't think I'm an anti anything. Um, it's a business, man. If you think we're business owners and we're giving away free money to the locals because we can, so like let's play the reverse. I actually worked on a big hunting property. Still great friends with the owner. It's one of the premier like locations of Africa. So I know how it works. Let's put ourselves in them shoes. Me and you own a hunting property. We sell big game hunts to Americans. So we grow buffalo, kudu, big antelope, right? It takes a few years for them to get big enough to shoot. So we've got to grow that thing for 4 years. It's out in the wild. We've got to protect it from the lions and the leopards and the poachers. Like when it finally is big enough to shoot, I can now get an American, usually an American or Brit, to come in and hunt it, right? I'm going to charge full price, $5,000 to shoot that. They're going to shoot it and they're going to take the trophy home, which is the skull and the hide. I am now left with about 600 pounds of prime venison meat. That's money on the table right there, man. That's going to the butcher. Like all of that goes to the butcher to get processed into more money back for me. Now, all the stuff that I cut off that I don't send to the butcher because it's the crap you cut off, the flap, that goes to the locals all day. You give that to your trackers and your guides. Like, here you go, take home this meat. But if it has value to it, it gets sold for what it is, money to run the business. So I always hear like, yeah, I went to Africa and shot this elephant, but like if I hadn't have shot it, the locals wouldn't have eaten. Like, no, they would have not eaten anyway. Like, all you've done is they took all the meat that was worth money, it goes for sale, and then everything else goes to like the local situation. It does fund some conservation. I have and do still work on properties that hunt, and hunting drives money for conservation. So when it works, it does work. But like everything, there are unscrupulous properties that 100% do the complete opposite of that. And people come and pay to hunt thinking they're helping with conservation. And I can tell you in the background, you're not. Like that money goes to boss man. So,
Yet not all that aid going to Africa goes to Africans.
but I'm not to shit on the hunting community. Let's just say on the conservation side, on the non-profit side, people raise millions of dollars to save wildlife without hunting any, and still the money doesn't find its way to the right places. So
Oh,
it's just
absolutely.
as a whole. When it does work, it works well. But especially with somewhere like South Africa, you could be unscrupulous here because it's like me, like rhino poaching, elephant poaching, and lion poaching can also just be you letting someone do it on your property to get your money. Oh no, someone poached all my rhinos. Like, really? Like, where did the tracks come in? Like, oh, we didn't find any tracks. Like, convenient. No one heard the gunshots?
Yeah, what was that one that I read? The guy, he wouldn't register his, I don't know if it was lions or some rhinos or something. And then the state finally made him go register what he had on his property. And then somebody at the office leaked all that information out and they were all killed right away. Um,
Yes,
so,
it's that's a big thing too. I've had that happen personally. So to I don't know, this rhino talk's going on now. Let's kind of go to the next step for people to follow along. So one of the counter poaching strategies we use, besides firepower and rangers, we can deter rhino poaching by cutting off the horn. And like I said, the horn grows on a nail bed like your finger. So imagine your thumb on your face, and your horns are growing from the base of your nail bed. So we can dehorn rhinos where we anesthetize them, we'll dart them with the dart gun, the vet, and with a chainsaw we can measure and we can cut that horn all the way down to the nail bed. So we deter poaching because it's a risk to reward game. Are you going to risk your life to come jump the fence and look for rhinos when they're dehorned, knowing that there's a very real chance of being killed by rangers? Like, no, why would you do that? You're here for the horn. So you'll go to a property where you can find horn. So dehorning as a strategy has really helped us save the rhino population by removing the incentive for poaching. But with that, we've also now stockpiled a crap load of rhino horns. So now you're meant to, every time you cut a rhino horn off, it's a protected species. So the South African government comes out and they annotate it on paperwork. Also, to cut a rhino horn off, you have to ask permission from the South African government, and they're going to sign the paperwork. So the minute you're like, I want to cut off 6 rhino horns on my property, it goes into the corrupt South African system, and someone's going to be like, yo, my boy, I just heard some rhinos. You best get a move on before they cut the horns off. Or maybe we let you cut the horns off and we ambush you guys afterwards, and then we take the horns.
mm, mm.
So there's a lot of, it's a complicated thing. There is no black or white to this rhino strategy. Right now, we've dehorned around 80% of all rhinos in South Africa. Our population is steady now and rising, but yeah, it's a weird issue because it's driven by another country's demand in this country. So like, no matter what we do, unless we stop the Asians from wanting it, no amount of money will stop that.
So that's the big issue that gets the most press. What other conservation issues are there that are going on that don't get any
Yes,
press?
so rhinos get the biggest one. I also work in pangolins. If you haven't heard of a
That's the
pangolin, some of you,
that's it.
the
That's
little
what I was
armored
trying to think
anteater.
of. That was
Yeah,
so
the armored
cute, man.
anteater.
Oh, don't you want just a little pangolin the whole they're
It's a
so cute.
Pokemon. It's an
Yeah.
absolute Pokemon. So some of them are small. I've had them up to 60 pound. In the DRC, they have giant ones, which are up to 100 pound. It's a Pokemon. It's a real life walking T-Rex little Pokemon thing. So it's one of the most poached animals in the world. All goes to Asia as well. Medicinal beliefs. They grind it up into powder, and they believe, when you curl up into that ball, there's protection. So there's a protection in like the scale to have. They also like the meat. Um, Everyone in Africa now knows that if you find one, it's worth money because of the Asian market. So now every day you've got millions of Africans, quite literally millions of Africans wake up every day like, I need to go collect firewood, I need to go tend to my cows, I need to find food. So every day they go out and do this, and every day people encounter pangolins doing their business, eating termites, and all you know is like, I think that's worth money. You catch it, bring it to town. That happens every day, and they are poached in the millions. So now the population's collapsing. Um, but that one's a unique one because once again, it's really hard to prevent. We can't prevent it with guns because people don't break into the park; they just find the pangolins, kind of thing. Um, Lions and tigers are another good one we can talk about. So I live here in South Africa now. I spent some time in Thailand, working on tiger protection for the wild population. So the wild tiger population is actually making a comeback. It's rising, but we used to have hundreds of thousands of tigers. Now we have thousands of tigers. Like Thailand, you count all in one, like a couple of hands. So as the number of tigers have gone down in the world, it's become harder for people that want tiger parts to find tigers. So skins, skulls for medicinal medicine. Enter South Africa. What do we have? Lots of lions. And as you know, we banned lion trophy hunting. All that happened. We're like, okay, I can't hunt them now. I'll just sell them to Asia. So now I just was involved, like reading this undercover study. They just bust a massive lion bust here where they were raising tired lions for like cub petting. So tourists would come and play with the lion cubs and they get bigger and then they die. You boil down the bones and it looks just like a tiger, you know. When it gets to Bangkok and you open the container, that's a whole container full of dead tigers. You can't tell that it's a lion. So nowadays, most tiger products on the market are actually lions from Africa. So with that now, we're having a massive like poaching issue with our lions as well, which is also a shame because now the lion population that's left in the world, they used to range all across Africa. I'm in one of the world's last kind of remaining strongholds of lions. We've got a couple of thousand here, but that's rare everywhere else. But even that is constantly being like picked away day by day with the poaching.
Counterfeit tiger bones.
Yeah, they make
That's
tiger
crazy.
wine from it. Yeah, it's all kinds of stuff. And then outside of that, just poaching as a whole, the last few decades is just like everything else with the destruction of the world by humans. It's gone for the roof. We want everything. You think the biggest ones are poaching our rhinos, lions, tigers, elephant ivory, you know, like iconic stuff. That's actually a really bad commodity to work in because most people know what that looks like. So me and you get arrested at the airport, you open my bag and it's full of rhino horn and ivory. You don't have to be a genius, but you're probably like, I think that's illegal, right? So there's a lot of money in little things like parrots, tortoises, chameleons, plants. Um, Chameleons right now blowing my mind. There's a massive chameleon poaching market right now, and they're absolutely devastating the chameleons in Asia and Africa, like wiping them out for the online pet market. So you go out and you collect rare lizards, you box them up and sell them around the world, but it's unsustainable when you've got thousands of people online. They're like, I want that, buy, and you're taking it from the wild populations. Same with plants. Like I love plants, and my wife loves plants. My house is full of them. And America's gone plant crazy with all these like kind of buying the rarest plant, all these weird things. Like a lot of that stuff gets collected in the wild unscrupulously as well. Um, and like I said, it's all part of transnational organized crime. Today we sell rhino, and that gets too hard. Tomorrow I'll sell iguanas. That's too hard. I'll sell rare palms. We'll make our money's worth because we have a network. You know, we have the supply routes going. So they just transition to the next one very easily.
Mm. Mm. Business.
It's
Gotta keep
yeah.
the
Well,
business
coming
going.
from I will say, coming from the SF background, I was the Fox stuff and ASO stuff as well. It's very similar to how the networks work, transnational organized crime, like same but different how we're going about it and ranges are dealing with it. So I like being involved with it for that reason. I got a good mind for the networks.
Yeah, you can see the matrix of how it all works. That's got to be kind of depressing also because you're just seeing
Yeah,
how
and
it
you
all
brought up a good
works and you
point
go,
there.
this is they're gonna move to something else. So after this hole runs dry, they're gonna come up with another one. It's got to be kind of
So
a bummer.
that's why I'm in this. Well, it's not why I'm in the safari business now. It's one of the reasons I'm in the safari business. So I left special forces and a whole career in the military, where like to free the oppressed, right? To be the good guy, try and do it in wildlife conservation, and it's a wicked evil. You can't fix it. You can't stop rhino poaching. You can't save rangers. You can't stop plastic pollution. You can't stop our march to destroy what's left of the wilderness, unfortunately. So I tried. I tried for about 6, 7, 8 years while I was a passionate conservationist running an NGO, fundraising, raising. It's endless. You can never stop it. Once I realized that, it was kind of a sad kind of moment, but at the same time, it's just some things are just unfixable, right? Human greed is one of them.
Yeah, a loose association. Like I posted a reel last night, and it was about, you know, when you realize you're not only are you not the best, you're never going to be the best, right? So we take that to one. I'm trying to find the right way to talk about it. It's like veteran suicide, and I talk to people on the phone. It's like we're not going to stop it. Like we're not going to. Okay, so what do we do? Well, let's be aware that we're not going to stop it, and then we just work on how good can I get myself that maybe it'll brush off onto other people. And then with the conservation side, you could beat yourself into a deep depression trying to worry and fret over these things, and it wouldn't make any difference in the grand scheme of things. The same way you could do with trying to be a professional in any area, or working at veteran nonprofits trying to get dudes not to off themselves, right? You could work until you drop dead and it won't make any difference. But all right, let's go through this from a positive angle. What can I do to where maybe it'll work by I rise to such a level that it brushes off on other people? So is that way you started your own thing? Because you went, maybe I'm not going to make a difference this way. Maybe I can this way and do this positive thing where I'm benefiting and other people are benefiting.
Kind of. So I went from being like the anti-poaching ranger on the ground to then the management, then the training, then to conservation side, and kind of kept growing all of that. Um, sorry, I kind of got sidetracked on the question. Answer the question again. Sorry.
Um, and then I also missed one point there. I said it won't make any difference, but it
But yeah, that's where we're at.
as a whole, the thing does. Because if these rangers and these conservationists and this went away, it would just be free reign for everybody. So it doesn't like they're really holding the keeping the dike from collapsing, right? They got the finger
It
in the
it's
cracked
we
dike.
call it the thin green line here in conservation. So the rangers pick up the thin green line of wildlife conservation. That's something that's very near and dear to my heart. The thin green line, and it's what it is. And they're losing a lot of people. They lose around 300 rangers a year to deaths in the field, just like the military. Like guys are getting killed by wildlife, shot in contacts, vehicle rollovers, and then a lot of suicides. So it's very similar to what the military was going through. So I kind of stepped right into this, and it felt very similar coming over to this.
That's even about that's too because I like my dogs more than I like almost everybody, right? And you guys have got to, when you're trying to keep these animals alive, you got to get to know some of these animals, right?
No,
Like
you know
as
them.
you
You know them. You spend 12 hours a day with them, man. You know their tracks. You watch them interact with each other. You watch them. So here's the other crazy thing that I don't get. Everyone that has a dog or a cat knows how intelligent they are. Like my dogs can understand multiple things. You can watch them be sad, upset. They love each other. Okay, my dogs are stupid as crap. If I don't feed them, they die. They can't even walk around my neighborhood without me telling them where to go. Wildlife does all of that without human interaction whatsoever. It's because wild animals are more intelligent than your pets at home. So if you think your dog's intelligent, the average animal outside, antelope, has to survive in the wild for multiple years, feeding itself water. They have intelligence and they have a life going on, just like we have a life going on. They also have bad days and good days. They also don't want to die. They also like have a sense of their being here in this space. For rangers, you get to be around that all day long as you protect it, and you see these things interact and have friends, and they have best friends. They have their favorite trees they go to. Like you get very, and they get used to you as well because they know you as a protector. And then one day you're going to come out. If you're lucky, it's dead. How do you say? If you're lucky, you come out, it's dead with its face cut off in a big pool of blood. And you're like just broke to tears and devastated. If you're unlucky, they did a really bad job of it. And they came out, it's either not dead and you have to go find it and it's wounded, which is terrible trying to find a wounded rhino, or like they've done the worst, which is they've wounded the rhino, didn't kill it, and they've cut its face off, and the rhino's alive. You can't kill it because it's a protected animal, so you have to wait for the vet to come do it. So it's like that's some. I've been involved in some really horrible ones before, where I'm like, it's a bit rough. Same for like just lions, everything else. Like, they have to deal with this all the time. I remember with the rhinos, particularly, there's a lot of stress for that reason. You're going out every day with them, dealing with them at night, and then you go home and the next shift comes out, and you hope when you come back out, they haven't died. Sometimes poachers get in, and you try and find the poachers all night while you're trying to find the rhinos, and in the morning you count them all. Like, did we make it for the night? Like, we got them all. Like, what the fuck? So that every single day is very stressful.
That's got to be some rage right there, right? I never went to combat. I don't know the feeling, but I know that when the guy goes down, an ODA is going to unleash fucking hell on
Yes,
whoever
that's
did
very
that.
similar with the Rangers thing. Like you have your property to protect, so you're very same as oh yeah, like I've got my province, so these are my people. Like there's an intel network. You're working with the police and the locals. It's a full-on ecosystem of protection, and the Rangers are out there every day. So it's also a sometimes you can't help it. Like it's a big area. You're trying to protect the many while I'm the one trying to get in. It's easy for me to get in and leave no tracks. You have to prevent me, this massive area. So there's a lot of feeling of failure when that happens over and over again. Like, man, we suck. Like, and then you don't trust each other. Is it you that's on the inside? Are you the fucking spy? Are you telling people? So like Rangers, like the teams can fall apart. Like, it's a constant stress for these guys and girls to operate. Um, in the private sector, it's much better. I get to work on the private side where you can hire and fire your guys and girls. On the national park side, it's a government position, just like America. It's government hiring. So let's say a guy is highly suspected of being a dirty character. Like, yeah, but he's in the government. You can't just kick him out. He's a government employee. So some of them are like, we know he's a freaking poacher. Like, oh, just put him on the B team. Like, but now he's in the B team with access to the computers. So yeah, that's the thing. So there's a lot of distrust in the Ranger force, unfortunately, because of that, because we've had non-stop incursions into the ranks. We have corrupt police officers giving away information. We have politicians brought out, giving away information, letting people walk from trials. So it's getting better since I've been here. It is getting better, but yeah, it's a complex problem.
So
It's a wicked problem.
it is. And so when did you decide to start stepping away from that and start doing your own thing? And why did you do that?
First reason why I did it, I'm retired, like I said, so I've got a retirement budget. So that's kind of a man. I spent so much of my retirement doing this. People are like, why are you spending your money? Because it made me happy. Like, it's my retirement. I earned it. I don't want to be in Africa and use my money to train rangers or donate equipment to save rhinos. Like it's made me so happy. It's also changed the Kev that left the army, which was not this dreadlocked kind of like happy-go-lucky guy. I came out very much with like the SF rage and war in me. So it's been really good for me. But I wasn't making money. I was making a reputation for myself, and what I was doing? I was becoming a subject matter expert. When I first got here, it was terrifying. I didn't know who I was in the industry. I'd gone from being Kev the Green Beret, senior leader in the army, like people looked up to me, to being one of the many trying to refine my identity as like Kev the Ranger in Africa. I finally got that at the end, and I felt happy with who I am and what I was accomplishing in the industry. And then all my friends own safari businesses, and everything around me is safari. I live in the safari world, just on the paramilitary protection side of it. So now I sell my experience and all my knowledge from being in Africa, which parks are the best. And so now I entered the safari business and I get paid for doing this now. So still do conservation, but it doesn't really pay the bills. But safari for me does. And it's much more fun. Now I get paid to go check out lodges in foreign countries or go to countries for good reasons versus like I'm about to go train rangers now and deal with freaking M23 in the DRC or militiamen in Kenya. It's yeah.
So Wildworks is your safari business.
Yep, it's an American safari travel business. I actually have one here in South Africa too, which is the actual safari hub of itself. So I specialize in creating bespoke adventures for the American clients. Yeah, you tell me what you want, I'll make it happen. I usually try and do we call it Safari Plus in my business. So everyone else here does Safari. You come, you go the morning drive and the afternoon drive. You come for safaris with us. So like there's a helicopter ride. We go on boat cruises. It's fishing. I set up hunting trips for people for like the sky's the limit. I also do Thailand. I just got back from a trip this year, and I'm taking back another group to Thailand, I think in January of this year, coming up for a tiger project. So they're gonna go do some diving, ride some motorbikes, and then want to go do some tiger conservation. So that's what they've paid me for. So right now I'm basically being paid to take people on all these adventures I know about,
Oh God.
which is
Oh, it
fun. It's
sounds.
growing. Yeah, I'm having a great time with it.
It sounds like it. You look very happy.
Yeah, if there's any takeaway from this, just do what makes you happy, right? I've been very lucky because I retired and got a pension, which has allowed me to, no matter what, keep going. If you've got a retirement pension from the army and you're just going to do the same damn thing that everyone else does, like shame on you. You've got some budget to. It's given me a safety net every month to fail, and I failed over and over and over and over and over and over because it doesn't matter because I get paid in the first, which for me has been really rewarding. Failing at first was terrifying in these new countries, and some things didn't work out. I've done business plans that haven't worked, but like over time, it's really created what I am now, and I'm really happy just to go out and try it. If it doesn't work, like okay, cool, I'll get paid at the end of the month, and we'll do something different. So the risk taking has become much more risk taking in the old days. SF meant something different for me, but now like the risk taken I take globally as far as like will my company go to this country or like should I open a new office in this country? Like I'm able to do that right now. But yeah, it's making me happy because I'm basically playing my own adventure, working for myself.
Yeah, it makes me want to sell all my stuff and just go, work at a dive shop in Thailand or something and just kind of
I did all these things, man. I left the army. Even when I was first starting out as a ranger, you get 90 days at a time in the country. So I'd come to South Africa, do my conservation work, and then I'd go back to America. So I've done everything from being an electrician to a plumber, and I hated that. Then I moved up to Cape Cod where I met my wife, and now I was a professional fisherman. So I was a professional tuna fisherman offshore, like 1,000 pound tuna on rod and reel. I'd make enough money doing that, and then I'd go back to Thailand. I'd come back or go to Africa. So back and forth doing these odd and end adventure jobs. But yeah, it's been a great fun doing it all.
I bet, I bet. But why? I mean, what's the one that like when you did get out? What's the first one that pulled you out of the country and you're like, oh, I got to keep doing this?
Well, this gig, the first one I did was conservation. Let's go way back to little Kev growing up in England. I remember we went to the zoo with my parents, and at the end of the day, I was like, I want to be a zookeeper. And my dad was like, he's a police officer, was like, nope, that's for dirty, dreadlocked hippies. You make no money. Man, was he was he right? Because here I am many years later. But it was always my passion to be a wildlife conservationist as a little kid, and my other passion was to be SAS. So I just did them in a different order. I moved to America, became American SAS, and then instead of a zookeeper, I became a conservationist later on in my life.
Yeah, I guess that's the closest we can get to SAS. Did you ever get to work with them though? And that must have been cool.
I did, yeah. So I actually got to work with most of the units out there during my time. So I did OAF 1, then OAF 3, then went back for a cap of 5, then I went to selection, and then I did the surge with SF into Afghanistan, then another SF surge, and then a recruitment deployment and back. And during that time, I've worked with everyone from KSK, the SAS, SBS. I stood up the Romanian SOF, Hungarian SOF, Slovakians. We stood up in on my unit in Germany. This is before we had NATO SOF. Like we were busy getting all these units up to par. Um, I had a lot, actually, quite a few friends from England that went over to SAS and SBS. I actually caught up with a few of them on rotations where we crossed paths. Let me just tell you, American military is very nice. We get paid the best, man. Best money, best promotions, and they look after us like soldiers. The Brits, the military has been in decline for decades, basically since the end of Falklands. They had crap equipment, crap pay. I've been out for a while now. One of my friends just retired on Facebook, I saw, and he just left military housing, like the shittest military housing his whole career. Like that's very much the military way in England, whereas like, Fort Bragg, everyone's got a massive house in Silver Lake and we're living it up. So definitely happy I did the American. And and my retirement, man. My benefits for fighting and being wounded, it's much better here than anywhere else in the world. But yeah, I've had a great time with my basically fighting alongside foreign soft forces, and a lot of foreign soft trading too, because I was 110 in Germany, so we were partnered with ISAF soft and NATO soft.
Why were you able to choose? I mean, were you able to choose? So are you a British citizen or are you dual citizen
Technically, I'm
starting out?
American, so
No.
I got here as a British citizen on a green card. I moved here. Well, my mum's a nurse, my dad's a police officer, so I'll give you a bit of the backstory here. I usually don't tell people this story when people ask me in public because it always goes into this bigger story, and I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm American.
What's the origin story? My wife's American too. But she's got a USA passport, but she's from Bloemfontein, South Africa.
Yeah.
So
So oh yeah, I forgot when you told me that she's got a South African wife. So, the whole deal. So yeah, so my family moved to America. My mum's a nurse, so her qualifications were better in America. We got to New York on September 10th, 2001, flew in, saw the trade centers. The next day, we were getting our social security cards in a government office in Savannah, Georgia, when the planes hit. And they came into the government building like, hey, America's now under attack. We're shutting down for the day. We're kind of like, well, we've just sold everything. We're here to get our damn social security cards, and like we need them. Um, Basically, I remember it's a few days we finally got all the information, but we couldn't go back to England. We'd sold everything we had, and now we've moved to America, and America's under attack by Arabs. So I joined the army. I just turned 17. So I was 16 when I got to America. September 11th happened. I turned 17 in October. I signed up end of October, and I got shipped out in January. Um, I remember telling my
17.
recruiter I wanted to get to Afghanistan to the fight because the first units were just going out, and one of my drill sergeants was like, "You don't want to go to Afghanistan. The big fight's going to be in Iraq." And I was like, "I don't want to do that." He's like, "Trust me." So and then he got me sent to Fort Stewart, Georgia, with a third ID. And I remember being like, I wanted to go to Afghanistan. Man, was he right? I got to Fort Stewart, and Stewart was gearing up for land warfare. So I was with the Third Infantry Division. So for those of you who come from the mech world, like I came from one of the big mech worlds, which it sucks. Mech world sucks if you're not at war. If you're at war, though, like mech, baby, it's tanks, artillery, like it's a ride to battle. So yeah, I turned 18 that October, which was good because now I could finally go to war. And then we deployed literally beginning of December, and then we were the spearhead for the invasion into Iraq. So I was part of the crew that destroyed the berm. Actually, so before the war started, my company of engineers was on the border, and we were tasked that night to basically blow the berm. So we brought our ace combat movers up, breached the berm, and then pitch black dark. We did it all in the dark, and then I could hear the buggies, and then all of the soft units fucking flowed through. There were SEALs on buggies, there were ODAs on Gumvees with flags flying, and I remember being like, I'm with the wrong people right now. Like, I need to be that. Probably one of my sergeants was like, "You'll never be that. You wish." Like, whatever, dude. Like, I'm in the wrong damn job right now. Um,
Why were you so gung ho as a 18-year-old kid, 17-year-old kid?
I've been gung ho my whole career, man. I wanted to be SAS. Like, grew up reading SAS books and playing GI Joe. My uncles were all paratroopers. I grew up playing rugby. I was an army cadet when I was 13, so I was competing. I was shooting machine guns and freaking Enfields and all kinds of stuff on the weekends. So I was gung ho as hell my whole career.
You're just ready to go, huh? That's awesome.
I'm a warrior, man. So let's make no mistake. I joined the army for war and to be a warrior. I didn't join for school. I didn't join because I had nothing else going on. Like, I joined to be a warrior and to leave at the end of my career with war stories before I did my next thing. Like, that was my purpose for being in the military. And boy, did I get it, man. I had some hellacious, like, I've been in some of the pivotal battles of the OIF campaigns. I've fought tank on tank. I've been strafed by enemy gunships, friendly fire. I've freaking had knockdown, drag out balls with ODAs in valleys. I've done proper tank on tank, like destroyed the whole Medellin division in the afternoon, like thousands of Iraqi soldiers, like one battle kind of. So I've seen it all. I had a really good kind of. I didn't miss out on battle. Like, I definitely got all my prayers answered. I know a lot of people that went a whole career and didn't get a damn battle. or like guys who are in SF a whole career, and you had one fight in Kabul and you shot some rounds. Like, but yeah, I was super happy with what the my war phase. But I say that right because now looking back, I lost a lot. I had a lot of friends die, a lot of really good friends die in the war. I went through a lot of bullshit with the war as well, though. So like, if it wasn't for the fact I wanted to be a warrior and I was kind of happy with the war part, there was a lot of unhappiness with it too, which I had to deal with post military, I'm sure.
Yeah. That's the stuff. Yeah, nobody thinks about that. Nobody's like, oh yeah, I'm going to be okay with all that loss and death and destruction and
It
all that
it was
too.
weird for me because I was so young. So I was 18, finished the first war at 18 years old. I'm a machine gun. Like Iraq War was a freaking wild one. Like we were getting the work done. I definitely got the work done. My platoon sergeant got so the first Medal of Honor was my platoon sergeant Smith. So I fought in the battle. I killed the guys that killed Smith. So the first Medal of Honor for the Americans in the OAF. I was a little late, unfortunately. I didn't kill the guys in the tower that got him first, but I was off by like a few seconds. So that one kind of weighed me. Like for a long time, I beat myself up about that one that I could have saved Smith. But yeah, after that though, so 18 years old fighting war, I was really young. It's at that point where your brain is still adjusting, and I had bad advice from senior soldiers who were like, "No, don't talk to a shrink. That's fucking weakness. You bottle it up inside." So like, first war at 18, I'm like, Roger, you bottle it up, don't talk about it. And I did a whole career with them rules. I just kind of compartmentalized and buried it. I bury stuff really well. It's not healthy and it's not right, but I've done it since I was 18. Like, how do you stop doing it? So now as an adult, like I'm married now, but it's definitely hampered some previous relationships or some of my ability to handle loss in the family, kind of. Because I'm just like, that's really sad, but just bottle it down deep inside. It's probably not the best, but that came from just being thrust into it so young. But now, like I've repaired all that post military, like being in the wilderness, eating some mushrooms, just kind of like getting back in touch with who I am and how to be in the world. But yeah, I hope that explained that one
Recharge.
a bit.
That's fine. You recharge. Everybody finds their own way. I'm completely different than I used to be a few years ago. Everybody, because you have to, or it just literally kills you. It
Some
just
people get
drags
hung
you
up
into
on it, don't
hell.
they? You get hung up. So I was hung up for a little while when I got out and being a Green Beret. It was my everything. Like, when I was in the military, the whole goal was to be special forces, right? I got there, did the whole career of that. I got the beret on, all the medals, and then suddenly one day I stepped out of the camp and never went back. I never got to put my beret back on again. Never got to put the uniform back on, which was like my identity. Actually, it's all about. So I just never got to put my uniform back on. I remember after that, I was super lost because I was Kev, a Green Beret. Like, what do you do? Oh, I'm Special Forces. Now, what do you do? Oh, I'm in between jobs right now, I guess. Like, that's horrible mind F. And that lasted for about a year where I was having identity issues about who I am or my worth in the world. I remember I'd gone to Thailand, um, got into mushrooms, psychedelics, which is, I know you've done some podcasts. I actually know Mike was talking about the psychedelics. When you do mushrooms like I'd done previously in my career for fun, they're fun. You just like it's colors. When you do mushrooms with a purpose and kind of going into it to look inside, there's something there. I had a really big trip one day, so I did a lot of mushrooms, and I had it what they call an ego death. For those who aren't aware of ego death, it's basically my
For those
it's
that aren't aware, that's a lot.
yeah. How does that happen? If you do enough psychedelics, you can have ego death. It doesn't happen all the time. It just the conditions have to be right. But like, my God, like it fixed all my issues. I literally in this trip had the two worlds pulled apart. Kevin away from the special forces Kevin, and just like that, my brain was like, "Oh yeah, we're not a Green Beret anymore." Like, shake it off. And the next morning, I remember just waking up like, "I'm Kevin, man. Like, I am Kevin. Like, I'm a goddamn." And me, let's start this new adventure. So that for me was like, I remember like the feeling was like it ripped away all this darkness with it. It was such a profound moment, and I remember the next morning like I hope this lasts. And I woke up and it's like it's gone. Like that feeling is gone. That was because so much my identity was to everyone thought I was cool. Chicks like you, guys dig you, military things. It's all about the Green Beret. Like it's everything you are. You tell everyone about it. Once that's suddenly gone without you being ready for it, it took a second. But yeah, after that, yeah, stopped drinking as much as well after doing mushrooms and things. So it's definitely good healing.
Sounds like it. It sounds like it. And you just, I the same kind of, I mean, not the same, but when I stop drinking, I think everything starts to clear up, and you go, I'm not that anymore. And with the drinking, that's one thing, because one of my guests came on here, Randy, from one of my first episodes, and he says, that's the last vestiges of the team room is the drinking. You don't want to let SF go, and you just hold on to it, and then you make it such a thing that it ruins your life. And then so now that's gone, and then so now I'm kind of like floating around suffering, and I got no booze, I'm not smoking or anything, so I'm just working out. And then kind of one day I'm just, me. Like, I used to be a badass. Now I'm just badass in other ways. And what do you do now? Well, I'm a podcaster, which feels weird to say. It's like, what do you do? Well, I podcast. Is that a real thing? I don't know. Is it? I don't know if it is or not. I'm kind of good at it. I'm kind of not good at it all at the same time. But yeah, it's weird when you separate from who you used to be, and you're like, I got to do this new path.
And I will say, like, so I did this new path. It's what I always wanted, was wildlife conservation, but it's very similar. If you haven't seen behind me, like, I've got some military patches, the rest are conservation patches, the ranger patches or national park patches. Like, I'm still in this railroad where I go train and get patches given. Um, all my clothes in my wardrobe are green, tan, and brown because you don't wear bright clothes in the bush. So even when I get dressed today, it's very lazy. I'm probably gonna wear a green shirt, my bush shoes. Like, I like the whole uniform thing to being a ranger trainer. Like, what am I gonna wear today? Like, my uniform. If I pass tracking, I get to put on a tracking badge. So lets everyone know I'm a tracker. It's like I like the lifestyle that comes with paramilitary training. I've also had the opportunity to train special operations since I've been out. I've been recruited a few times to do some training iterations, which has been really good being back around like the teams and the guys and girls. Um, Feeling a little older nowadays though. The tribe is changing for sure.
Everybody's getting younger. Everybody's getting younger. I said this the other night on the show,
I
right?
went on camp the other day and I felt like I was around a bunch of little kids. I was like, man, I could have swore back in the days the ODAs used to be a lot more older and formidable characters, gray bearded men. Now it's like fresh faced boys.
Oh no, you're not wrong there. The age of the team is 10 years younger than when you got to a team. It's on average about 10 years younger on the teams. But I said to somebody the other day on the show, I said, everybody says, oh, when you get out, you can't make your old life your new life. You gotta separate. You're not in the military anymore. And I go, well, why not? Why, if maybe just everybody's doing it wrong, they're getting obsessed and they're letting it pull them into the past. Well, why don't we just pull that into the now? Like, I can't let it go. I didn't get to do what I wanted to do, right? I worked really hard to get there, and I didn't get to do the things I wanted to do. So if it's making me happy and it's not destructive, well, I'm just going to keep it up. So I do this, right? And this keeps me plugged back into the community. I can interview guys like you, and it sounds like the same. Like, the military's over, but it doesn't have to be over. Let me keep living it in a different way. I can't do that anymore, but now I can go to South Africa and be a ranger and a conservationist and use all these skills. And that's, it is fulfilling, right? Because you worked really hard to get a lot of these skills and you get to use them. You're like, I'm still useful. And in your mind, you're like, I'm still somebody. And you're the only person in your head having this conversation with you. And if you're that voice in your head saying, I'm still useful, man, you're going to feel a whole lot fucking better than if you're telling yourself, I'm not useful
100%.
anymore.
100%. I always tell people it's not about the money either. As long as you've the society lately has gone crazy where like more money is a show of your success, but more money doesn't make people more happy. Like, there's a certain point where you've got enough to live and you can be outside and do a job that makes you happy. Like, that's where it's at. I'm in my comfort zone right now. I love this job I do. It makes me happy. I like the people I work with. Um, yeah, well, your podcast is great, man. You're also, I know why you're doing it. You're the same as Danny with Security Halt podcast. I like watching your podcast because you're basically reassembling the old crew. I know a lot of the old faces that come and talk, so it makes me really happy to see some of the old boys are still out there doing positive things. But even for me, being on this podcast for you, like, I'm in Africa, I get to talk about conservation and war stories, but I never really get to talk to an operator brother nowadays. So I kind of like the conversations back and forth. So you're doing good, man.
I I appreciate that. It's fun for me. It it it's bringing up a lot of things I didn't. I guess I'm naive about some things of things that'll come up and avenues. And my wife said, Where's this going to go?" I said, "I don't really know, but I feel like something's going to come up. Something will come up. Somebody will ask me to do something. I'll be like, yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that." Other things have come up and little things here and there. And I'm having a blast. And I get to tell people stories, which is a whole lot easier than telling my story. Because every time anybody asks me about me, I go, "I don't know. I did this and I did that." But somebody messages me. It's like, "Oh, I'm not good talking about myself." "Oh, I'll talk about you. I'll talk about you for 3 hours. We can record a whole episode, and I'll make some reels, and then I'll brag about you on my stories, and we'll have a good time." So that's much easier. Uh, but it's weird, You don't get to that because you get out and you're like, well, it's a lot of pain and a lot of second guessing and doubt and imposter syndrome and all these other things that are
But yeah, I
that
did the whole imposter syndrome thing too. I feel that one.
that's that's the number one thing I get asked about. It's like the number one thing that comes up in messages, DMs or whatever, and leadership and questions is imposter syndrome. And everybody that deserves to be where they're at has it. And the more they deserve to be there, the more they have it.
Well, that's why we have it, I think, because we are high performers. So we always feel like we're underperforming. Whereas people who are shitbags probably don't have that because you don't always like to like be a high performer. You're just like, I'm doing well. I think people that perform higher are always like, I'm not as good as I need to be. I need to be better. There's someone else out there better than myself, kind of things. It's a stress on that. But yeah, it's a very common theme amongst us all. I got some Hollywood celeb friends. Same thing with them too. Like you're like, you are a world recognized person. Same anxiety, same fears, kind of go with that.
And then there is the very, there has to be the one person who's at the top, right? And then continually just stays there. And that, I mean, they're tortured by the success of it, where they go of it ending or things like that. And there's a whole nother side of it. Like it is really, when you get to the top of somewhere, you're the only one there. And it's a constant pull that kind of you in your mind are like, I can't maintain this. How do I do this? Or you just leave. So there's a whole bunch of psychology that goes into it. And then, explosions and friends dying. And as you said, man, I love this moral injury. I don't love the moral injury side of it, but I've never heard that before. Where did
You know
you,
what's
where
funny
did
about
you
that?
come up with that?
Do you know where I learned that one? The army told it to
No.
me when I was back at first FSG a couple of years ago. I was asked to come by. The chaplains asked me to come by first FSG at Bragg. They wanted to do a program to Africa where they'd come out on safari and they'd bring their therapist with them. One of the biggest issues that the chaplains were trying to deal with was moral injury. Surprisingly, it's a big one in the military. Like who would have thunk it? So I went down this whole rabbit hole of moral injury and what the military says that is. And like when you start reading the causes of it, it's actually it's military 101. You served a whole career. As you were leaving, you didn't get a reward. They kicked you out and no one get you, like moral injury. Or the way that moral injury for me too, the SF brotherhood, the SF brotherhood, the brotherhood, the brotherhood. Only when I needed the brotherhood at the end, while I was still in, like, hey, help, there's no brotherhood. The word brother, like I have brothers, like they'll come and help you. So that whole we're a brotherhood, like mouth service that I kind of had some issues getting out with that one. So moral injury, how I thought the community was to each other, that was exploded when I left. It turned out that what hit me hardest when I was leaving was I finally realized I was just a number. I was like, oh damn, I thought I was a soldier, part of this freaking unit with SF, and it turns out I'm just a replaceable number. Just like, the minute you, and that is the way of the machine, right? I was naive because I've been in the military my whole career and fighting in places where I could die. So if you didn't believe in that, it's like, why am I fucking dying for this? But when I stopped dying for this thing because I was medboarding, it finally had a chance for you to be like, wait a minute. Like the way I thought the military was and some of the truths in my head that I told myself about the way the system functions weren't true. And when they suddenly weren't true, I was kind of like, wait a minute, what? That changes the whole way I thought about the entire thing I've been doing all these years, kind of thing. And that was the moral injury. I guess it's the hardest one to explain when you get out because everyone can understand like got blown up, my head hurts, got blown up, my back's not good. Like didn't get my reward, didn't leave the way I thought I should have left from something I gave my everything to. Like I said, injury people can't see, but an injury nonetheless.
I'll try and bring it into words here. And this is going to oversimplify it to the point where you'll go, shut the fuck up, you know? It's you get your healing. When you get your feelings hurt, right? Like, that's okay. If you say it like that, you go, shut the fuck up, right? Oh, you got your feelings hurt. Oh, sticks and stones will break your bones, but words will never hurt me. I don't know, man. I've been told some stuff where little phrases that I'll never forget those things, those little phrases. And like words will never hurt me. Like that's been 20 years, that's been in my head rolling around. Like maybe those words did hurt me. Maybe my feelings are hurt. Am I actually injured from that person saying that to me all that time ago? Yeah, that compressor that hit me in the head when I was 17 did a lot of damage, but oh man, when that guy said that, I've been thinking about that for a long time. And you go, oh, and then somebody says moral injury, you go, oh man, I feel like such a bitch. My feelings are hurt. But yeah, that's obviously a real thing. And my award didn't go, like I didn't get the award I wanted. It's a funny story now, but until it became a funny story, I was fucking bummed out about that. Getting medically retired, not being able to put my uniform on about that. It's just a stepping stone now. I get to do a lot of cool shit in a fucking t-shirt and shorts now. But until that point, was I injured? I don't know. Maybe, probably. Well, we get a psychologist on here that'd be like, well, you got this sort of issue and things like that. These are all real things that accumulate with trauma or battle or war, seeing friends dying. Now you switch that into a different arena with animals. And I don't know, there's something about the relationship with an animal that's different. Like they I don't know, you're caretaker for them. You're a parent sort of relationship for them now. It's got to be different when you see those kind of traumas. So that's even more stuff.
Yeah, it's. I don't think it affects me as much nowadays because now my coping mechanisms are better. How I'm able to sit down and deal with my emotions now and understand how they're affecting me, or like how while I'm thinking it inside, it's just the same as speaking it out loud. Negative thoughts inside are the same as just walking around talking. It's in your head. It's like I feel like in the military, no one really taught me or tells you how to kind of deal with this stuff. It's just always psychologists, therapists, meds. No one really talked me through kind of some of the coping mechanisms. It's not their job to, right? Their job is to make soldiers and get you out and get the next one in. That's what I learned at the end. That's kind of where I was like, wait a minute, I'm just an expendable number.
That's I hate to hear that, with the brotherhood thing. But then when you do hear it, you go, yeah, that makes sense. We were all legally required to be together on that team. Like, yeah, we're going to be like, yeah, we're a brotherhood. But I mean, if you don't come into work, you got to go to jail, right? Like you're AWOL. Like you're going to be this. I know you volunteered, but now you're required to be here. And then you don't want to let anybody down. And then there's the team dynamic. You got to live up to your potential and your own things that are bringing you down. You go, yeah, it's this brotherhood, but there's a lot of shit holding that brotherhood together while you're in
It's a
group.
lot. Like it's you just nailed it on the head. There's so much going on versus the military. I was a regular army soldier for half my career. Then the SF world is just so high strung, neurotic, stressful. So I tell people too. I've had a couple of friends I've met post military, and we've had the drinks and the woes me kind of like, oh, I miss the good old days. Like I remember the good stuff, but I also remember a ton of really bad bullshit. I want to say the bullshit was more than the good stuff. I want to say most of my 9 to 5 was a bunch of team guys in a room raging about whatever the issue this week was, which was just stressful until Friday. And then we'd blow up and drink. And then we'd go out to work Monday with the stress of the weekend or whatever. It was always this constant. The deployments were the good parts. We'd get away from the flagpole. But then when we were deployed and away from that bullshit, then I had to deal with people trying to snipe me, people trying to blow me up with IEDs, your wife and your girlfriend cheating taking your stuff or just generally, there was like so much stuff. So in garrison was stressful because we were fighting a war overseas. Being overseas was stressful because garrison brought the stress with it. So it's like so much stuff going on. And then suddenly one day it's all over. And it's like done. It's a lot to compress or explain to someone.
Yeah, fucking deal with that now, right? No, here you go. Hey, make sure you dial up your local VA and press 4 when you get there, and then they'll deal with you.
Yeah, I mean, I always say that we all the travel the world for a living, lots of military friends. We want to complain about the VA system. Our healthcare in America is the best in the world for soldiers. I don't know any other country that does it even a fraction compared to what we do. So while terrible, I'm just saying, guys, we've got a really good VA. But I myself have tried to use it in the States. I'm going to say I've had really good experiences, but I live in a major hub like Atlanta or like Boston. They have big VA centers. If you're from the middle country or some holler in like Arkansas, like, it's probably a lot harder for you to use your VA. But I so far haven't had a terrible issue with it. But I'm still generally young and healthy. Ask me when I'm 70 and shit myself.
I say all the time the VA is excellent if there's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah. And I also,
So
so with that being said, I hope to stay healthy so I don't end up one of them old crusty veterans that needs the VA. So on the whole, like why I'm so happy, I remember my whole military career from when I was an 18-year-old, even the SF, there was always a bunch of fat sergeants who were always like, just you wait until you're my age, you'll see, you'll be fat like me because the army will make you. Like, that's why I've stayed in shape my whole career. My whole army career, I had fat people tell me I'd get fat when I got to 30 and blah, blah, blah. Then I got to team and my team started like, just wait until you get to 34, you'll see. I'm like, I'm 40 and still running and going to the gym. My body hurts a little more now, but like, I've been doing missions here. Why did a mission? We were walking out in the Kruger for like a whole day in the heat, trumps him. I got to sit down with one of the old boys, like an old African boy in his 70s carrying an R1 rifle. I was like, how old are you? He's like, oh, I'm 70. I was in the army. I'm a ranger now. So if you're young in your brain and you think you can do it, your body will follow. So a big one for me is like keeping that whole mentality and fitness going is paramount. I think a lot of guys get out and lose the fitness thing. The fitness is discipline. That's why. That's why you're fat. Discipline. On the team, you were told to do it because you had to. Once you get out, you're not told. Like, so for me, the discipline of fitness is a discipline of safari, or the discipline of being a ranger, or a discipline of just everything. So if you lose your fitness, I feel like it unravels everything else for us. I haven't seen a fat, successful Green Beret yet.
no, no, no matter what the media makes you think. No, there's some guys that just need to get back on the workout regimen, but no, no, there's not. How, as being a gung ho teenager, how was your first impressions of the military? In so because you went to basic after 2001. I mean,
Yeah, I had a great time.
you
I
may
was
have been
old
a
school.
little bit more disappointed before 2001, but so you're going post 9/11.
I
What were your first
Yeah, I got
impressions?
literally post 9/11. America was ramping up for war. This was before cell phones, so like this was back from wall to wall counts, and you could chuck fire extinguishers at people, or like drag them down the stairs by their heads, like tape them outside the barracks and beat the crap out of them until the sun comes up in the morning. Like, yeah, don't do that again. Like, it was wild. So I've been an army cadet since I was 13. I've been dealing with British squaddies. I've been ruck marching. I was a long range rifle competitor. I used to carry a machine gun on the weekends in Army cadets to like shoot LSW. So like getting to the army at 17 was like basic training was a cakewalk for me. And then I got to Fort Stewart, and the third idea was ramping up for war. And that was fun. It was all ranges and CQB and basically getting ready to invade Iraq. And then from there on out until about 2015, it was just deployment. I was a deployment kind of. So for me, I got the war part I wanted. I never took my foot off the war brake until they put me in recruiting.
Gung ho. And do you think that because you had that warrior mindset that that just pulled you into all the stuff, or was it just lucky, the
I
luck
I
path?
read I like I'm not like uber hippie-ish or like the universe provides, but definitely seems to be that what you manifest out or what you just seem to like adamantly think about seems to at some point come into your life, either by design or because you move closer to it unknowingly. So I grew up reading all the old SAS war books and Rhodesia and the old mercenary books. So I wanted to be that. Like I knew what I wanted to be. This was before the age of cell phones. So all there was, I was reading books. I wasn't getting diluted by Instagram. Like I knew what I wanted to be in my head. It was all red. And then I got to Iraq and saw it. Once again, before cell phones and before like digital cameras, I was still very much in my head. I knew what I wanted. I didn't have all these distractions and noise. I wanted to be a warrior. I wanted to fight in combat, and I wanted to test my mettle. I wanted that bad. So I always made sure I was I was always fit. I've always been a good shot. I've grown up hunting my whole life. Like I'm a freaking sharpshooter with everything. And grew up playing rugby. Like I said, my uncle's all paras. My dad's a police officer, so I grew up like I've grown up a fighter and a scrapper. If there's a battle, like I'm gonna walk into that battle and we're gonna fight. So I was always put in a squad. I was always put on the problem child squad. Like I was always the black-headed sheep of the squad. Like Kev's carrying the machine gun, you're in 1-3. I'm always like that squad is like, let's send 1-3. And like so I was always on these teams that were always the team that got the job done. And I was always like in the right place for these missions and fights to happen. I got really lucky with it.
Some would say unlucky, but I guess that's a different perspective. Like you got exactly what you wanted, and that's tough out of the military, and especially on the big army side.
Looking back on it now, in hindsight, yeah, like, it's just a one rotation after the other rotation, like massive battles or massive key engagements or massive changes in momentum of the war from the US. Like SF rotations have been going on since 2001. Let me take it back a little while. For people that were around will remember this. So those that don't remember, there's no Instagram, there's no social media. 9/11's happened. It only exists on the news on the TV. At the bottom of the news, there's a scroller thing going. And it says like US soldier killed in Afghanistan, US soldier killed in Iraq. That went on for years. And it's like a little thing at the bottom of the screen every day. You see soldiers dying. Iraq took over in 2003 and everyone forgot about Afghanistan. It fell off the news. We just kind of went quiet about it. Like there were soldiers screaming like, we're still in Afghanistan, remember us. And the US tried its best to forget about Afghanistan on the news. It was a secret war. I was fighting in Iraq then. When I went SF and got to SF, Obama was just coming in. And that's when Obama was like, you know what, we're going to put an end to this war in Afghanistan. And he let the SF ODAs go freaking like wild dogs. 09, we went to DA, direct action. Our job with Ranger Bat, so it was ODAs, Ranger Bat. I think Marsoc was on the ground then. That was when the ROE changed for us, and our job was in 1 year, Obama was like, remove the problem. We just raided, man. We just raided with helicopters, raided this, raided that. Like it was great. So I got a really good. My first rotation was a very like we did some UW. I did stand up a militia. And we did some training with our partner force. But once they were up and running, we raided and we fought, and that was a really good rotation. The next rotation I went back out. I had a militia which got shut down by Hillary Clinton. So I think it was Title 10. They authorized. I was doing ASO at this time, so I got authorized to initiate a militia. So I stood up close to 1,000-man militia in the mountains of like northeastern Afghanistan, and they were outstanding. I'd pay them, and then we'd go fight. So like the army's like, I can't go to this valley. I'm like, watch this. Give me 1 hour, some money. I'd have cars showing up with militia, and like Afghans would get out, and then they'd lead the way. So the convoy can't move. Like, watch this. Like, just give me 50 dudes. Like, go clear the road, and off they'd go. But we also got in some really good battles with these militias because, like, unlike the army who can't find the enemy, like, the militia find the enemy every day because they know where they are. So we go get them. So I also got to do this really cool mission with that one where I'm doing training, I'm running my ASO and sources. I'm also running a freaking militia force to fight the Taliban. But essentially the Taliban complained to Doha, and then Doha complained to Hillary and Obama, and then we personally got a shutdown letter like, yo, no more Arbakai. They shut us down. But it was really effective. I remember we were in one of the most highest IED sectors for a while in Logman province. It was the highest IED strikes in Afghanistan at the time. US soldiers were dying consistently. It would take 6 hours just to drive, 30 miles for a convoy. with the militia, I could pick up the phone and I would have a militiaman by every culvert before we even got there cleared, and we just drive through. So it's super, super effective. We should have worked with the warlords. We shouldn't. Remember the whole like trying to trade up the Afghan forces was terrible. That's some of the most stressful stuff I've ever done. I carried a gun, a pistol, constantly because I was ready to kill my students 24/7. And there was a couple of times that me and my friends nearly killed people in training because language barrier and weird behaviors. Like, yo, what's going on right now? Like, draw guns. Like, yo, get your hands up. Like, students, put your hands up. Everyone, drop your AKs. Like, what's going on right now? Yeah, there was so much green on blue where like Afghans would just kill their SF instructors. Like, they're non-stop fragging them, blowing them up. And I was at 18 Charlie, so my job is to work outside of camp as well, which is crazy. I was quite often on an ATV a couple of mile away from base on my own, out checking on a checkpoint, or like I've gone to run to meet my militia in town on my ATV, and I'm in the garage now with all these militiamen. I used to, so the 18 Charlies, we'd have these big cook-off yards where vehicles and all your supplies would come to camp, but they wouldn't let them into camp for like 4 or 5 days. They'd make them stay in this yard. That way, if it was a car bomb, I guess you'd lose interest. Or if there's someone in the back of the vehicles, they'd die. So the army would make them wait. I can't wait. So my vehicles will come and they'll be like, Kev, go get it. I literally have to go out into this mess of like Afghans and people on my own, find my truck. And quite a few times I've had angry Afghan drivers like confront me, and then a crowd of people would start shouting like, now I'm 500 meters from the front gate on my own with a pistol and all these Afghans. It's like, like enough! Like, shut up, we're done. That's like rogue, man. Yeah, I've had some fights out there before. We had like some guys kept putting his hand in his pocket. So I drew a gun. I told him to get his hands out, and he didn't do it. Next thing I know, like we're rolling around in the yard fighting, just on my own out there, freaking beating up the freaking Afghan drivers. So yeah, I remember the regular army would come out on convoys and be like, "Is there a soldier out here on his own?" Like, hey,
Hey guys. Hey guys, I'm just doing my thing. Well, that's God. You know,
So
some of those things
then I'd
you're
have to.
describing.
So it gets better. So I'd have to get these vehicles in. So this is after I do all this. I then have to bring the vehicle into camp on an ATV. I'd park it in my SF base between these barriers I had. I'd then get the driver out, frisk him, take his cell phone, and get him to go sit away. I'd then like hopefully get another SF guy, but quite often I was on my own. I'd change guns out to a bigger fucking firepower gun. I'd cut the locks, and then I'd have to like open the conics and make sure there weren't Afghans in it, because some guys had Afghans jump out in camp and start shooting AKs and running. It happened.
Inconceivable to the
Yeah,
regular army
the good old
mind.
days. So on all the regular army fighting I did, the SF stuff I did was also kind of wild. Like doing the level 3 and 2 and the ASO stuff was cool as well, because I got to actually flex that in country. So going out in a little Toyota Corolla, I'd quite often go out in my little Toyota Corolla to pick up sources with just me and the Terp, and I'd take a bunch of hand grenades and smoke grenades, put them in the cup holders. I had a 249 collapse with the mini barrel, and I'd be able to wrap that under my Shemagh in my lap, and then my Terp would have an MP5 silenced, and we'd drive out the gate and into town to pick up sources like that. And the plan was, if it went bad, like the Terp would chuck grenades and freaking smoke out the windows, smoke, and then I'd go to work with a machine gun, and we'd run him, we'd run down the freaking checkpoint and get back to town. The biggest issue doing that actually was always American convoys. It's never the freaking Afghans. It's like you run into an American checkpoint, you're like, oh, these guys are on the trigger finger, 50 cal machine guns with privates, and you're like, American, take off my hat, like, American, hey, American, like,
Promise.
point that Mark 19 elsewhere.
Promise I didn't defect, and I'm on the other side now. I promise, right? Jesus. So a lot of that stuff is inconceivable to the regular army mind. Like,
especially nowadays, inconceivable nowadays. In the old days, like a decade ago, the war, we'd been in war so long that if you'd been around it for a while and you knew the rules, like it was, guys were doing all kinds of stuff. Like it's wild, yeah.
But you said the first time that you saw SF guys was on your first trip into Iraq, and everybody's rolling past you.
Yeah. It all came streaming by the Navy SEAL teams in their ground buggies, and then that was followed by the GMVs all pouring in. And then we watched all the foreign group, like the SAS went in with their landies after that. Just a stream of special ops going through the border that night into Iraq. That's what I was like, that's who I want to be with. 48 hours before the fight, these guys are going in. That's what I want to be.
And that was 2003.
2003, yeah.
And then you didn't go to selection for another 8 years after that?
Yeah, back in the old days, back then it was way different. So you could even go to SF unless you were a senior sergeant. They wouldn't even take you unless you were an E5, E6, and you had to have a minimum of like X amount of years in the army, and combat experience was highly recommended. If you weren't old enough, I knew guys that went that were too young and got kicked out. Not kicked out, they completed it, but they'd tell you like come back when you're older. So I didn't go over until I'd done 2 tours. I was an E6, so I'd done 2.5 tours at that point. E6, multiple combat rotations. So it was my time to go and compete for ODAs then. And everyone I was with was roughly the same. Everyone was senior sergeants. We had a few X-rays back then, but yeah, towards the end of my recruitment, like it was like 2 or 3 years in the army. We were taking specialists, no combat experience required. We'd take you.
Yeah, I went to selection as a E3 in 2012, January 2012. But I think at the same time, I mean, the X-ray program is going on, and they're recruiting guys off the street at 21 years old in those years that you're talking about
The
as
X-ray
X-rays.
program. So I was around for the first batch of X-rays, so to speak. Actually, the first X-ray warrant officer was from my team. So the first warrant officer went X-ray. So I I see I've got lots of X-ray buddies, and I've worked with some great X-rays, so I can't knock on them as a whole. They turn into good ODA members. The problem for me with X-rays was always this: they don't know the army for shit every
No.
time. So actually, I remember a couple of big fights I had with X-rays. Some of my really good friends downrange. We were in Afghanistan once, and we'd done a mission with the regular army. And let's say it was a long mission. I can't remember the whatever long mission. It was miserable. At the end of the mission, the soldiers were also miserable. The regular army guys were miserable. I get why they were miserable because I'd been a soldier, soldiering as a bullshit private. Different world, right? Their misery is different than mine on the ODA. My X-rays are whining about the conditions. I'm like, basically, like, guys, shut the fuck up. You guys don't know anything. You guys with Gucci gear. You've got wine in the fridge in the base. Like, we're living the good. There's nothing hard about this. So my issue with the X-rays is they only knew SF. Like they only had good and bad habits from the ODA. They didn't know what it was to be a soldier. So they didn't know what a sergeant major in the regular army was. They didn't know what police corps was. They didn't know what being in the motor pool until freaking 7 o'clock at night on a Friday picking up. Like they're completely oblivious to that. So sometimes, especially during deployments, interfacing with the military, that was always an issue with the X-rays. Guarantee the X-rays would piss off some sergeant major on camp. You're like, who did that? You're like, oh, that makes sense. That's why they did that. It's X-ray.
It was either one of the support kids who's only been in group for 6 months who thinks he's on an ODA, or was an X-ray, you know, saying the wrong thing.
So, like,
There's
while it's a great program, you can recruit studs for the X-ray program. The problem is, like, they weren't ever a soldier. So there's so much more about being in SF. Like, yeah, I can teach you to be SF, but like, you also got to be a good soldier to be SF too. Like, so I feel like they miss a key part of the upbringing. They just you just go straight to the UFC. Now you're on TV fighting in the UFC ring. You just skipped all the part where like you grind and it's miserable and you're losing and you're washing the freaking motor pool with a mop in the rain. You're like, why am I doing this? It's so that they lose a part of that military upbringing or what it is to be a soldier. They just go straight to being an operator, and an operator and a soldier are two different things.
Yeah. And there is, I mean, I was only in the regular army for 2 years. I learned a lot about how things work and, customs, courtesies, getting yelled at for somebody else's DUI. That is a big one that you really miss out. X-rays miss out on that one. Even though that happens in the course, they don't really get the full effect of standing out in formation in 100-degree heat while Sergeant Major yells at you for something you didn't do. I mean, that's a life lesson right there of going, I got to get the fuck out of here. But yeah, there's things that you miss out on, but the majority of the graduates now are 18 X-rays,
So I've been
and
following a lot of the SF traffic with what's going on now. So welcome to, when there's no war. I got to the military right at the end of the Cold War issues. So Third ID was basically a mechanized division designed to fight Russians in open combat. We quickly adjusted to fight Iraqis in Iraq, but the military's got to remember when I first joined, there was no war going on. The army was stagnant. Everyone, it's peacetime militaries are always terrible, guys. Sucks. Fingers crossed we go to a war with Iran or China, because that's when soldiering comes back again. The name of the game is fighting and soldiering, and the military changes, its whole purpose changes. But right now, we're definitely in a long end of a peacetime kind of stint. People get more wrapped around the uniforms and regulations and the safety concerns versus like the war fighting, the fitness, the aggression. The army is designed to fight the enemy. There's a certain amount of aggression and kind of like forwardness that comes with that. And it seems like we've stripped that away from SOF, not just SF, SOF as a whole. Like some of that angry man rage, go to battle and crush people has been watered down by the last few years of like whatever this woke. So when I was leaving, woke was kind of at a go in the military. I remember being a recruiter and not being able to shout at regular army soldiers or like but you're fucked up. Like I'm a goddamn E7. I should be able to shout at you. Like why can't I shout at you? Like you're an E4 and doing something wrong. Like you should be able to be corrected regardless of what command you're in. Like this whole woke ideology came into the army as well. It watered everything down. It used to be a lot more rough and tough, barracks warfare. Actually, I think the phone might have broke it. I think social media and the phones broke the military. Because when I first joined as a private, for those of you who are older, you could disappear for the day. Like if you were told to get off work for the day, like there was no phone. You would come back tomorrow for formation. You could disappear to a dental appointment and disappear for the day because there's no phone. Now you're constantly contactable 24/7. Not only that, you're watching videos of soldiers. Like so much of being a soldier is kind of been removed. You don't have to hang out in the barracks now with your friends and drink because you can go online or go find people off camp. So we've lost so much of what it was to be like a combined group of people fighting and brawling and fucking amongst each other and then going to war. I feel like we've kind of watered that down now.
yeah, I said a few times on here that the United States government is only good at one thing, and that's killing people. And it doesn't matter if it's the enemy or our own people. That's all we do really well is kill people. And when we start to lose that ability to do that, it doesn't matter. We don't discriminate whether it's our own citizens with laws or whatever, or foreign. But if we're getting bad at killing people, that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign at all. And you brought up one, and I'm going to kind of go off that a little bit. I spoke to somebody on the phone the other day, and he's describing an issue to me, and I said, one of the issues here that you're talking about is there's nobody left that remembers September 10th, 2001. There's nobody left. There are some people that have learned from those folks that were on a team or in the military that remember September 10th, 2001, but it's been diluted, and even those people are now the senior ranking individuals. They're not on the team. So we've got 2 or 3 generations passed down, and whatever you can say, oh yeah, but we there wouldn't be a need for a lessons learned detachment or section at the unit if we actually learned the lessons on the team level. There wouldn't be a need for it. And then still nobody goes to talk to those people about the lessons learned that they're keeping of all the history. So it's all gone. All of that knowledge of what SF used to be is all gone. And now we are whatever was born out of the GWAT, that's what SF is now.
And
And here we
and
are.
that's crazy as well because the whole they preach the SF history, right? Like, well, SF was always a redheaded stepchild. Like, we are the black sheep. That's how we formed. That's why we exist. Like, unfortunately, as you well know, I've had a lot of good commanders, a lot of good sergeant majors. There are some mofos in our ranks, though, that should not have got to where they are. And unfortunately, they are. And with it, they bring a culture which is not a warrior culture. And I don't know why we allow people like that to lead warriors. Like warriors should be led by warriors. Warriors should be led by weak sheep. But quite often, just due to how we do things, these people end up in charge. But I will say, like when war happens, knowledge comes back pretty quick. Let's say we were to kick off. So where I'm getting to with that, like we lost a lot of our wildness from the old days, the 60s or 70s, like that rogueness of being SF. And then the early part of the war where SF were out there with beards and long hair. Then I'm driving around in battles in my career, like guys with mismatched uniforms. Like we were the redheaded stepchildren, but we got the work done. Like people might not have wanted us around in your sector, but when shit went down, you had an ODA to call. Like there was some kind of it's a certain kind of man that wants to be involved in that. It's some wildness and kind of rebellious spirit, and you have to kind of cultivate that. If we lose that and we water that down, then what is it to be SF? I don't like that commanders and these new salt majors can rewrite the rules of what it is to be SF. They do it constantly. Like, we are now this. Like, no, who said you could change what we are? Like, we're meant to be ODAs. ODAs are meant to decide amongst themselves how we operate, and like bit by bit, they've taken all that erased. So now we're basically kind of like a traditional force. Hopefully, when a war goes, that all goes out the window again. And after a year or two, you start having people that will pop their cherries and know what they're doing. But then I watch what's going on in Ukraine right now. So the next war that SF fights is going to be so different from the war we stood up to fight back in the day, or then we did for GWAT. This new one's going to be fascinating kind of study.
Yeah, we get to watch it from 10,000 miles away and get all the lessons learned with very few of the casualties.
It's
But
going to be
you're
a
it's gonna be
an
it's gonna be
interesting one.
awful. It's terrible.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Yeah.
it's gonna be yeah. If you had like senior guys, not just senior guys, but battle hardened guys like the old days and multiple deployments, it'd just be like a new problem. But this one's gonna be a brand new problem they're going into, and they're gonna have to figure it out with non-combat tested people for the first bit, and that's gonna be rough.
And what you said there, right? When something else kicks off, and I talked through this the other day that all right, yeah, SF is shrinking and it's kind of going to its size moving forward. That might be the case of what's happening now. But just like all of this traumatic brain injury study and focus on health and mental health and everything and all these other things, the small force, it'll all be swept to the side when something else kicks off. There's a section of the population that will just appear and go, yes, I'm going to go down to the recruiter's office and enlist. And then they're going to go be Green Berets, and SOF can't be mass produced. That's bullshit. They'll mass produce SOF. They'll just do it. It just takes longer. They'll mass produce it. It just takes 2 years. But they can mass produce that shit. It can't be rushed. Like, oh yeah, that can be too. Like, I went through the course in 13 months. There's guys that went through the course in 36 months. It's just always so. I mean, those aren't even comparable. That's almost 3 times as long. So am I different from those guys? I don't fucking know, right? Like, uh, so some of those things, yeah, they're soft truths, but are they when we because we're going to wipe away all of the health concerns as well when this goes on and go, yeah, I know you got a TBI from being blown up and on the 50, but I'm going to need you to go back out there and shoot the Carl Gustav as well to stay alive. So a lot of these things become a moot point, as you said, when it's time to throw down. So there's that too.
100%. So I feel like for everyone's in soft right now. I've spoken to a lot of guys in soft right now and working with units. Everyone's kind of unhappy, waiting for the next war. Like it will come. We'll get our chance again. And then once again, the military changes when it's at war. The budget changes. I'm very interested to see how this next whatever this is going to be that happens. I don't know. The world's an interesting place right now. It definitely seems very unsettled with all the proxy wars going on, how everything ties together.
Well, you stay more plugged into it than I do. I get more of like the touchy feely, how do you think about this? How do you think about that? It seems like you still like to know what's going on. Is that right?
Yeah, it's also kind of my job to do it, especially for the wildlife. I have the military background, as you know, so the wildlife crime scene when we start going to transnational crime, and I'm laying onto my global map, like how is this space affecting this, or like How is this trade route affected by this war? It all starts overlapping. So when I go to a lot of these forums I work in or conventions I go to, I specialize in wildlife crime. There'll be someone else that talks about guns, human trafficking. There's other people that specialize in the movement of explosive ordnance and devices around. So like not only am I dealing with Africa, I deal with Asia as well, which is kind of unique. So I look at everything from the perspective of how do these two things affect America? And there's a lot of places where our partner forces are engaged, or like there's ODAs out in countries we never used to be in. So I can kind of see all the chess bits being moved around right now. I'm just kind of waiting for the first one we get pulled into. I don't know if it's going to be Taiwan kicks off with China, which then sets a bunch of other dominoes falling elsewhere. We've got ISIS rising again in Africa. They're actually more powerful here in Africa than they've ever been before. ISIS is rising again in Iraq. The war in Myanmar is a really interesting one right now because India is beefing with China and they're doing that as a proxy through Myanmar. Everything that gets shipped out of Africa going to China goes in through Myanmar, straight up to the corner in the Golden Triangle. That's why they use it. So you got Thailand fighting in Cambodia. They just basically had a border war. I was out there about a year plus ago right now, training an ODA on jungle bike, motorbike survival and riding in the jungles, and that kicked off. So like you have all these things with US interests kind of bubbling up that we're not usually involved in. So yeah, I don't know how the next big one breaks out. It's not going to be in the Middle East, I don't think. But I mean, we just bombed Iran the other day. Like forgot about that one already.
They were those things were nearing their expiration date. We had to use them anyway, so we got to just send them out. We got to let everybody know what we're working with once in a while. But that's also for the later guys to worry about. I do draw that distinction every once in a while. You start thinking about stuff and going like this and go, and whatever. Like if you know, people ask me, they're like, "What do you think about this?" I was like, "There's nothing I can do about any of this stuff. Yours, it seems to affect some of the things that you do, but me
I
sitting in
like to
my
do it.
basement, I say, yeah,
I like to stay on top of it, especially for me. Global interests for protected parks or rangers that live in them countries, it kind of affects me if I get a gig or work there, but more not nowadays. I'm staying up to date because if we go to war with China or Iran officially, we can expect a cyber attack, and a cyber attack will probably affect my paycheck. And considering that my living is kind of dependent upon my retirement pay, I'm very, very concerned when I see the US getting into issues with Iran and China, who both have massive cyber capabilities and have the ability to be like, quickest way to just shut down the US military is just like make us disgruntled, turn off our pay, done. It's not much. Like I've actually been in the military before when we didn't get paid during the war and we stopped fighting. Happened a couple of times. Government shut down. Once in Afghanistan, we refused to fight. We didn't get paid for like 3 weeks, and we were like, "Yeah, I'm not going out anymore." Like Sergeant Major, that you got to go out, guys. Like I'm not going out to do this unless I'm paid. Like I'm not being blown up for this. But that would be a big one, just a cyber shutdown of payment. Army fight. No one's deploying with no money.
there's somebody listening to this taking notes. Like we didn't think of that one.
And then I've also got to worry about like if something big with America happens or global politics happens somewhere in Africa where I'm stationed here or living here. You know, what if a coup happens in South Africa? Can I get out of the country? Can I extract myself back to the US in a safe manner, or do I have to like cross a land border on foot and pay for a boat? Like so, yeah, it pays for me to know what's going on because I'm a long way from home.
You're in the best country for that. Like the South Africa is the most put together. It drops off severely after South Africa, like right off a cliff.
Had this conversation recently. We've asked me why I'm here. So it says it's bad on paper, but I still live here, right? Like I'm in the Kruger. Let's say nuclear bombs go off, AI shut down, whatever it may be. Okay, there's no internet. I've got food and water, endless food and water here. There's game for days here I can hunt and feed on. Fresh water for days. I'm also in the wild, so I can see you coming. So when all these people are hungry and starving and turn on one another in cities, I'm in a place where we can still defend what we have. You know, it's a small town. They'll band together. They'll figure out a day shift and a night shift, and we'll protect what's ours. And we're small enough that we can do that, and we're surrounded by wilderness, so we can see people coming. So probably a pretty safe place to ride it out here.
Yeah, make a last stand. No, I will say,
Eat
like
rhino
again, like I
steaks.
said, Eating. Oh, come on, man. We go with all the rhino talk. We're going. The first one up is the cute, cuddly, murderous rhino.
What if they are delicious? I've never tried one actually. I've eaten most things. I've eaten elephant. Elephant's pretty good, but I've never actually eaten rhino. Now I think about it, kind of curious.
And a dark note. We get to it. No, that I mean, everything's. I mean, everything's edible. You know, if you care enough. There's the a good portion of the world eats horse, and you've got striped horses running around out
Oh
there.
yeah, for real. So like, I love my meat. So Africa, we have so much game. Like, I hunt in America. In America, I can eat whitetail, mule deer, wild hog, javelina. I don't eat bear, moose, elk, right? Maybe some ducks. Africa, where I live, everything's edible. Giraffe, eland, kudu, impala, nyala, zebra's edible, warthog, bush pig, and all of it tastes different. And I live in a hunting area, so I can go to the butcher and I have all of this meat. So I eat quite a lot of ostrich, impala, wildebeest. All of it tastes different based on what the animals eat. So one of my most delicious things I've had actually is elephant and giraffe. Because they only pick tender leaves. The giraffe is a browse on the top of the trees, and they're only eating the freshest leaves. So imagine you only fed a cow the freshest blades of grass. You'd have a very tender cow. Same with these antelope. Buffalo eat grass on bulk, but then again, like elephants, very, very picky and selective about what they eat. They pick with the trunk, so the meat is also very tasty.
Just for also people, if they're listening at home, like the difference in where you're at, variety wise than America. Like if you go to Yellowstone here in America, you know, you'll see some bear, you'll see some bison for sure, elk, you might see a moose, and some whitetail. And then it kind of, the chances of seeing anything else pretty severely drop off. About by you, you got 30, 40 different types of animal that you're going to see, right?
Yes, I love my wildlife. I travel around the world just to see wildlife. So America, even before hunting, and it was still we don't have a large variety. Here it's huge. My antelope species, just antelope alone, massive. Dozens of antelope walk around my house. Then I've got my big herbivores, buffalo, wildebeest, elephants, rhino. Then my predators, wild dogs, hyenas, caracals, lynxes, leopards, lions, honey badger. I've got every kind of small predator you can imagine, like mongoose, weasels, rats, monkeys, baboons. The, I think 230 bird species, 100 plus snakes and scorpions. I live in a zoo. It's the best way. Imagine the best zoo you've ever gone to. Put a fence around it, put some houses in the zoo, and then open up all the cages. That's what I live in. So any one time there could be a leopard there or a cobra here. We never know. Sometimes they're in the house, but it's just outside. And because it's not hunted like in America, it doesn't run away. It will just move away. So we have these kind of I can interact with wildlife where I can sit down and watch it, and it just kind of keeps doing its thing around me, which is really rare. But I have herds of buffalo, like 500 to 1,000 strong, kind of thing. Herds of elephants, anywhere from a dozen to hundreds. Our biggest lion pride here right now is 22 lions. That's a lot of eating. It's a big pride. So I mean, yeah, this is mega herbivores and fauna just kind of walking around here, which is such a rewarding thing to be in. It just makes my brain happy. It's free dopamine.
Sure, my listeners can tell me. I keep coming back. I'm like, oh, I want to hear more about what's going on down there. It's just
I'll talk about
such
Africa
a
all
cool
day.
thing.
Once again, we want to talk about Africa because one of the people are fascinated. So I do the rangers thing. I really like it because it's dangerous, but the danger quite often comes from the wildlife. I live in a place where the wildlife is free roaming. Like I said, when I'm in the national parks doing my conservation job, everyone's like, "Oh, it's Kev. He knows what he's doing. It used to be SF. Like Kev can do what he wants." I quite often find myself in quite dangerous situations where I'm like, "Oh, I guess I'm on my own, and here I am." I'm like, "Oh." Um, Walking around dangerous wildlife is super dangerous. So we have to learn how to do it. And that comes from knowledge. And with knowledge and understanding comes some safety. So like elephants, super dangerous. Elephants is in the last month have killed right now, I think around here, at least 3 or 4 people that I know of. I don't know what's going on with elephants right now, but they are on a rampage. People are stupid. That's the issue. People are stupid and they don't respect elephants. It's a 6-ton animal. It's the biggest thing in the world. So being on foot with elephants, we have to know how to like work with them. Number one, just don't be seen, be smelt, and they won't care. If they smell you and hear you, then quite often, if you're further enough away, then they'll choose to leave. If you're too close and they've got babies, a big elephant's going to do what it does and protect the babies. It's going to come and try and kill whatever that is. That's because of the lions. You're a big predator. Lions are a big predator. An elephant doesn't differentiate. Predator's a predator. Kill it. Um, Same with buffalo. If you bump into a buffalo super close, it doesn't want to run away because of predators. If you run away from lions, they jump on your back. They get you. So if you bump into a buffalo up front, he's like, oh shit, I've got to fight. And he's just going to come at you. Same with hippos. Big herbivores in general are always, if they can run away, they can. If you're too close, they're going to try and kill you and then run away. So I've constantly got to be on alert for that. I'm always smelling the wind. If I'm tracking, I'm always aware where the wind's coming from. Like, is it in my face or behind? Because the minute I smell something, I need to know, like, it came from my right. Like, the elephants are there. Or I need to, like, it's like that minefield analogy I said in the beginning. When you're in it, especially when there's lions and you're like, the tracks are fresh, you're tracking people in the tracks of lions, and like, you might bump into guys with AKs. It might be a buffalo or the 20 lions sleeping who are about to jump up and be really unhappy that you're here. And you're like, oh. So all of your senses are in tune. Like, you're smelling, you're hearing, you're feeling the wind on your face. Like, it's alive. I love it. It's buzzing. It becomes very, very rewarding. And then when you deal with predators, especially lions, it's a lot easier dealing with lions than it is dealing with the herbivores, because the lions eat people, the herbivores don't. They just kill you. So with a lion, it doesn't want to get injured fighting me because I'm a big predator as well. If it does fight me, it's not fighting me; it's killing me to eat me, and you're not going to win that fight. But if you do bump into them, they try and attack you. You just stand your ground. Just be really confident. Just be like, fucking back to them, because the lion doesn't want to get injured. If they get injured, they can't hunt and they die. But I've had them come at a full charge with a roar, like, whoa, 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 whoa. And they'll come all the way into a stop, like 10 feet away. And you're just kind of like, please stop, please stop, please stop, please stop. But you want to talk about mental toughness, man. Like, so I've been trained to do that now, and I'm in the bush doing this. It's changed my whole demeanor about. I grew up being a combative instructor, and I've always been a bit of a fighter and a brawler, but like, this is a new power unlocked for me. Like, you're not afraid of elephants and lions. Like, I really don't fear many men nowadays. I'm like, unless you're gonna kill me and eat me, I don't really care. So with that whole like understanding of being around large, dangerous animals, it's changed my whole perspective of dealing with people. People are just like, who cares nowadays? Little weak things, but even my presence. So when you're dealing with dangerous animals, presence is everything. So just being calm, controlling your adrenaline, because adrenaline does one of two things: either terrifies you, and you're like, oh, or it's calming presence. You've got like, I'm gonna fight this animal if it gets to me, but I'm not going to, because my calm, steely demeanor is gonna scare the animal. The animal's gonna get down there and be like, man, this guy is way too unafraid right now. Like, that makes them unafraid, and then they'll stop the fight. But yeah, so like, just being out there in the wild with presence and demeanor, it's really, really powerful. And I learned that from doing this.
How does that compare to like the military? Because with all of your trips and rotations and training and all that, it seems like from what you described, you got pretty comfortable being in combat or uncomfortable situations. And now you
Yeah,
go
so I
into
might
this
be.
new one and now you're comfortable with that. So how do those two compare?
It's like I'm looking for them, where it's like I like that. I think a lot of guys that get out and used to do that, like CAG or Ranger Bat, and then they miss it. Now, I found a way to do it still safe, in a safe and repeatable manner. I can go out and track lions and elephants every day. If I do it wrong, I die. If I do it right, I'm good. So I get to confront some of these fears of being out at night here in the dark. Like, let me tell you that one. I love the night, but here it's terrifying. The lions and leopards and hyenas are out at night, and I've done missions at night here where there's no white lights because they can be seen for miles around. Like, it's night vision and red light, but you're out with big predators at night that are ambushing, eating things. So you're learning to control your emotions and fear, and just kind of going out and doing it is really, 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 really powerful. But yeah, it's the same feeling, man, from like being a point man and creeping around like in Afghan and in alleyways where you're out hunting at night, and you know this guy's like sneaking around planting IEDs, and you're going around corners, you're alert, your blood's pumping, you're like, this next one, the guy will be there. Nah, the next one. same in the bush here. Like it's kind of that there's danger, omnipresent danger, and you don't have the full adrenaline kick. You got that drip. It's kind of like you can feel it like a drug. Like it's that uber alert, senses are turned on kind of feeling. Um, which most people don't get to experience nowadays, which as humans, we are a hunter-gatherer. We evolved for this. We literally have arms and legs to do this, not to sit in the office and eat freaking Cheetos. We're meant to be using our ears and nose and using all the senses together, which is why I'm so happy. Like mental health for veterans, like I'm doing the most human thing I can be doing in a place that humans have been doing it for thousands of years. We literally evolved to survive amongst all this. So that for me is super rewarding. It's calculated risk. It's like demolition. If you do it stupidly, you'll die. Like the animals here will get you. If you do it as a professional, calculated risk, you'll come out every time, most of the time. But I like the fact that I can push it. No, I can find elephants, or you can try and sneak in as close as you can to the elephant and hope they don't see you.
The dark there. Like the dark here in America, most places you can just walk around in the dark here, but there that's got to be something else, like just true scary when you can't see out in front of you.
Yeah. So remember I was talking about the pangolins earlier. So my wife was involved with the pangolin program where she say re-nurse the pangolins. Well, they are nocturnal and they only feed at night. So you have to take them out into the wild and let them go, and you follow them around for the night. If you have a light on, it disturbs their feeding and they stop eating. So you basically have to quietly follow them around in the dark while they do their thing. Lions, leopards, everything will come and investigate you in the dark. Oh my God, talking about the dark. So I was doing this one mission where I was with a bunch of rangers doing a follow up on a poaching incursion, and we had canines. So the canines on scent. So the dog at night is basically hauling ass on the track, and you're pulled along by the canine. And we had the helicopter in the air with night vision and thermals, completely blacked out. And the helicopter was basically talking us around the wildlife, like buffalo 500 meters, like push hard left. Like, so we got to take the dog off track now, push to the left around the buffaloes, get the dog back on track, and then like we're about to bump into lions. Like, you guys need to make a hard right, like 500 meters now. Like, we're pushing around the wildlife. Um, but yeah, it's not only that at night. The snakes are an issue at night too. We've got big adders, like our pit viper likes to lay in the
Feathers.
trails. So you stand on them guys at night. Elephants and buffalo at night can't see as well, so they're a bit aggressive. I've had leopards come in and check me out before. I did oh man, this is years ago. We were in a hide, so we in like this hunting hide overlooking a waterhole where the rhinos used to come down and drink. And then we were afraid that poachers were to come down to the waterhole and get the rhinos. So we'd gone in for like a 6 hour OP. We basically camouflaged ourselves in this hide. I mean, they were, I think, one of a ranger and the canine handler and the canine. We'd sat in there for hours. It got dark. And nothing's happening. You kind of like in and out of sleep, right? Like eyes shut, in and out, in and out. The dog growled, but our anti-poaching dogs don't growl very loud. They're trained for the bush. But he let us know something was there. Like, so we're standing. There's nothing there, nothing there. But like, I can see this little pink thing floating around, and it looks like it's down by the waterhole, and I can see it. I'm like, what is this? So finally, we decide to go to white light. We turn the white light on, and this leopard is like right in front of us. The pink thing I'm seeing is its nose. He's snuck in, and basically we're looking at his nose as he's like looking through the door at us. I had to hide from lions, that
Jesus.
big pride of 22 lion. So I was training rangers at night. We were doing medical training. So I had a medical lane. So I got they'd done a track. They'd been tracking. They'd taken contact. They'd taken a patient. I was teaching them medical under stress. So my patient's screaming, ah, ah, they're training him. That attracted the lions, and the lions came to check us out. So lions at night are completely different during the day. At night, they don't care. During the day, they're like humans. At night, they're like lions, like we own. So they kept coming and kept coming. I had to end the training, and then it was alongside a railway line, and we had to basically jump into this fenced-in like power box. So I got all the rangers climb the fence, put the dog over, and then we are all standing behind this mesh link fence, like a 5 foot by 5 foot box with the power, and the lions like going around the outside of the freaking enclosure.
That's got to be a crazy feeling.
It's an amazing feeling. So the sound of lions roaring is primal, and it's deeply set inside our being. It's the most powerful sound. Like I love the sound of it, but at the same time, at night when it's dark and you're out with them, it's also like the most terrifying sound too. It reverberates in your ribs, and even if you're not scared of it, like I'm not scared of it, my brain tells me I should be scared of it. Your brain's like fucking danger, like horrible, horrible danger in the dark. But yeah, I love it. I love it.
That's a That's a trip, man. I mean, you found your way to continue getting that uh, dopamine, or serotonin, and just continue doing it. And you say, in a safe, repeatable way. Oh yeah, but if you repeat it, too many times, these animals are smart though too. They're watching you
So
just as much as you're watching them.
yeah, so also well, once again, we have. I love South Africa because we have all of the qualifications here. Like to be a field guide, you go through qualification courses and you get a qualification, and then you can go be a guide, and then there's another qualification to carry a firearm. Same for a ranger. So everyone's highly trained to work in this space. To be on foot professionally is a whole nother like. To be a safari guide or a ranger is like being a private. To be a safari guide carrying a rifle with guests is kind of like being a sergeant, and then to be an independent ranger trainer and be able to do it like, kind of like that E7, E8, like you, it's kind of the role I'm in where I can bounce around and do what I want. So you're trained to work with the wildlife, and the wildlife is usually fairly predictable. They have a bubble system. So imagine like we have three rings around a dangerous animal. The far outer ring is when I can first see the animal and the animal can't see me. He can't smell me, can't see me. Like I can watch the animal all day and they'll never know I'm here. The next ring I get to is when the animal now realizes like I'm here. It can see me. It might turn to face me, but I'm still further enough away that I'm not a threat. Animal doesn't care. So I'm now in the second ring. There's another ring I can get to, and now the animal's like, all right, I see you. I'm gonna let you know I see you. Like flappy ears. I'm standing up. I'm now deciding what to do about you. I'm like, should I run away? Should I stand and fight? If I stay here right now, I can keep watching the animal. But I've changed the animal's behavior. It's not acting naturally now because now it's like, why is this predator standing here watching me? So I can see the animal showing me it doesn't want me here. I can now push it again. I now get down to what we call the danger zone. That final bubble. In the danger zone, what's going to happen is the animal is going to run away from the danger, be like, okay, I'm out, or the animal's going to turn and fight the danger. So that's your options. So what happens with dangerous animal encounters is we bump into the animal in one of them bubbles too close. The animal didn't have bubble 1, 2, 3 before we met there. You were sleeping in the bushes of the buffalo, and suddenly you woke up and there are people like here. The buffalo's like, oh, attack, and it just goes straight to defense. So as long as you know these bubbles, we can also defuse as well. Like I can get out of the bubble and the animal will also calm down. So just knowing all these like steps to like defuse or re-engage with the wildlife is kind of cool.
Wild
When you
place,
come to
man.
Africa, I'll show you, man. I'll take you out. We'll track some we'll track some lions and elephants, and we'll do this in person. You can see it for real.
Go get on my Delta points after this and see what we got. No, we got to get down there anyway. The shout out to my in-laws. They moved from Bloem to Namibia. They're on the coast,
So
so
I do
not even
safaris in Namibia. Gorgeous out there too.
it is. It is. I can't wait to go and hang out. And I think we'll fly into Windhoek or Walvis Bay or something, then go out to the coast and go see that. I'd love to go see the Skeleton Coast and get some dune buggies and ride up there.
So I will say, man, when I was growing up, Africa was just like was just this one place, like Africa, the continent. And in military, Africa is always this shithole like Chad or Mali but living here, it's a massive continent. I fly around it all the time. I'm always fascinated by what I find. Every country has rich people. Wherever there's rich people, there's always a rich district. No matter what, like you can go to Haiti and whatever rich people are left there, there'll be a functioning high end, like the last bastion. Like Africa as a whole, when you're anywhere below the DRC, down is pretty good. I went to Rwanda a couple of years ago doing a guerrilla project. I highly recommend anyone go to Rwanda. That was amazing. That place is Wakanda. It's spotlessly clean. The food was good. The people are nice. Like Uganda was pretty cool. Like Kenya's got a really nice beach scene. much like Cancun kind of vibe. South Africa's gorgeous. Namibia's nice, like Zambia. So yeah, it's not what you hear on the news. So anyone that wants to come out and view Africa, please let me know, and I'll send you to the right place. But the place is really unique. Where it is nice, it's nice. Where it has problems like everywhere else in the world. But yeah, it's a massive place, so it's huge.
Well, yeah, God, I remember driving. We drove from I don't know where the fuck we were. We're on the highway for hours, and I'm going like 150 miles an hour. And I'm like, are we there yet? Like, we are hauling ass. No, we still got a few hours to go. I was like, Jesus Christ, this place is big.
And it's very the terrain, like what you have for geological terrain features in this country is amazing. You got forests and amazing beaches and jungles and wildlife zones. Like, there's something of everything here. It changes so much from place to place. So I look at Africa now that I live here, much like the US. Each country is a state. So it's like for me to go from South Africa to Zambia is the same as me going from like Georgia to Florida or Georgia to South Carolina. Like, so I look at the countries now more like states, and I kind of bounce around the states on my travels versus like going to this whole other country kind of thing.
Yeah, that is one thing my wife brings up all the time. She goes, what do you mean it's different down in Illinois than it is in Wisconsin?" Well, this is completely illegal 10 minutes that way, but here it's fine. We're fine with this. This doesn't make any sense. I was like, well, you know, we had a big war 150 years ago. Everybody was invited, and now the states can do whatever the fuck they want. So she's like, that doesn't make any sense. I said, exactly. It doesn't make any sense, but that's just the way things are. So, but no, man. We'll get there. We'll get back down there soon. We got to go and visit, but I'm
Yeah,
excited.
we'll
I,
definitely
I
make a
wanted
plan.
to
You
get out
come
to
back,
Peru. Yeah. I,
come up and see me. I'll give you some fun. We'll go on an adventure up here. Whoever comes to see me in Kruger, I've actually had a few SF guys come out. Some other army guys have found me through Wildworks to come out. Like, I will always make time to come see brothers that come out to the bush. So I always make time to go for a drink. Definitely go for a drive because we can go for a drive and drink in the wild. Go some find some wildlife. You guys get to see behind the scenes of the Kruger kind of vibe. Like, it's quite fun.
man, I got pulled off of my normal way I go around about telling your story here, but I think we dipped in and out. But like the last one on the military side, did you, after going SF and doing your combat rotations and your deployments and everything, did you get to fulfill that warrior mission that you sent out to do in the beginning with everything that you got to do? Or are you
Um, I
continuing it
I
now?
I did in the beginning. I didn't realize it when I left. Now I've been out with some hindsight, like you said. I've had time to heal and come to terms with who I am now. Look back on the old days versus with like fresh eyes. I had a very good time. I did. I'm gonna. My plan wasn't to write a book. That was not why I'm doing any of this, but I am going to write a book at some point, just because I've had such a for some, I love reading. I've read lots of the traditional special forces character development book. Like, I've never read one somewhere into England to the US and then to Africa and Asia. Like, at some point I'll write my book. So I'm kind of living life as an adventure. Like I said, I've got tiger projects in Thailand. I do gorillas in freaking DRC, Uganda, Rwanda. I live in Kruger. Up until recently, I was still trading soft forces around the place. So yeah, I'm not done yet. We'll see what pops up. Who knows? Who knows what
That's
happens
so,
next?
and there's
South
so much
America's
to
next for
do.
me.
If do you, There's so much to do. You just have to go out and make it happen. It seems like you're just like, yeah, let's go do that. You're
I
not.
found I found a job where I can do that. So I work for another non-profit, Conservation Beyond Borders, where I'm their protected area specialist. So I specialize in protected areas, national parks. Wherever there's a national park with endangered species in, I can get funded to go. So I can be in South America doing jaguars. I could be in Kenya doing this. I could be in. I've gone as far away as Nepal doing rhino projects. Like, so it's the same job, different country, different language, but very much same uniform, same outcomes. I'm going to go train what I train. I'm quite. I spent most of my career dealing with people that don't speak English. Someone asked me the other day, how do I deal with that? Like, I've always this has been my way of life for so long now. Like, deployments, I don't speak Arabic or Pashto or Afghan or Zulu or Songa or Thai. Like, I know enough to get by, but my whole career has been me training. in a language which isn't my own language around a bunch of people who don't speak my mother tongue, and I've always thrived in it. And here I am proving that. So I quite like the adventure. I don't know what's after this. There's still more out there. There's a lot more to be doing. Yeah.
The language part, that's easy. Whatever. Wherever you go, everybody's going to speak something different. And you might think this is funny, you might not. The one that bothers me the most is when we switch from driving on the left side to the right side. And that's not the part that bothers me. It's when the turn signal and the windshield wiper start switching and you're at a roundabout and you put the windshield wipers on full speed and you
Looking
got
like
to
an amateur,
shift.
you're like,
You're like,
so that happens to me. So what happens to me a lot is because I bounce back and forth so often, like every 90 days or so, 4 months, usually I'm in another country, either US, somewhere in Africa or Asia. So I go back and forth. I can drive on any side of the road. I'm just used to it at this point. What messes me up, I drive a motorbike too. When I get in a car in another country, if I ever get lost in my head, I always remember the driver's next to the middle line. So I'm like, I'm this side of the road. I got home the other day, I was on my motorbike flying down the road, and I was like, oh shit, what side of the road am I on? And I have no reference on the bike. I'm like, had to wait for a car to come. Same in Thailand one day. I was like, quite often I drive along on a motorbike and you have no reference to tell you what side to be on if there's no cars around. You're like, oh no, like what side of the road am I meant to be on? Am I going to this exit correctly? But yeah.
I could just go down the rabbit hole all day long, but I know you're what do we come up with? You're 7 hours ahead of me, so the sun's going down. It's almost time for you to
Yeah,
hibernate.
it's 6:30 right now for me, so I'm gonna eat my dinner, head to read my book, head to bed. Then tomorrow morning I'm gonna get up. I take the dogs out in the morning. I track leopards in the morning. So this morning I was out. Well, yesterday morning I was out tracking leopards. So I usually try and get up in the morning. So I'm also a tracker. One of my passions growing up was tracking. I hunted wildlife, and I read books about famous African trackers. Now I'm a certified tracker, so I teach man tracking. I'm trained and qualified in that. I hold a certification in wildlife tracking as well. So I am a professional tracker. So I wake up most days and I track. I go out in the bush and I find something and I follow it till I find it. So yesterday it was leopard. I tracked rafts, mongoose, honey badger. Yes, I love what I do. I can't explain that enough.
Yeah, I got up, I had my coffee, woke up, tracked some leopards, and I whittled a stick. The usual
Pretty
things.
much I do that. I go for tracking for an hour out in the bush and I come home, I get on my laptop, I do all my safari bookings and travel for the day. Then I go to the gym and basically come back and get this done. So I get my work done early in the morning and the afternoons are mine. I kind of like to enjoy the bush and get out. I spend a lot more time watching sunsets and sunrises here, which sounds kind of like I was like, go. It's proven for the proven for the dopamine for the human body. It's really good for us to watch sunrises and sunsets. Like in America, you do it every now and then. You're like, oh, that was pretty. I do it every day here. I'm outside when the sun comes up, and I kind of like get my sun salutations, and in the afternoon too. But there's something very powerful about being connected back to the rhythm of the planet, like going to bed with the sun, up with the sun. The Milky Way of my house is massive and bright. It's a massive band that goes over the house. Like at night, I'm under the stars as we're meant to. Like our stories are written in the stars as humans. Like we're meant to not be disconnected from that stuff. Whenever I go back to the cities, I'm instantly aware of the fact I can't see the stars. I don't know where the sun is in the sky, so I don't know my direction. It's overwhelmingly noisy. So I realize how much, well, people don't realize how much is being robbed from them as humans, has been taken away from you, which is inherently in us as humans, like that nature part of us. It's being taken from us in so many places, and it's making us really unhappy and sick.
Yeah. I feel like such a piece of shit when I wake up at 8 a.m. every day. But I go to bed at 12:30 and I wake up at 8 and I go, you piece of shit. Like you slept in again. And then a couple minutes later, I wake up and I go, listen, man, you're just shifting the day. You're still sleeping. Like, it's not like you're sleeping in, but it's like, so you miss that like the sunrise, right? You're not first rise and you miss out on it. And I think that must be it, because every day I'm like, you piece of shit, get
Are
up,
are
get
you
up
a
and do
morning workout
PT.
person?
Oh yeah, I am. But with this, like, I don't, with all this stuff, with running the page and interviewing stuff, the interviews fall wherever they do throughout the day. But man, I find that I don't really start getting funny or into my groove until like 6 p.m. And then I'm
See,
like,
I'm the
I'm
opposite.
making stuff. Oh man, I start
I get
waking
up
up and I'm like
early.
making stuff. Oh.
I'm pinging in the morning. Like first thing I'm awake, I'm at my best because quite often people try and do podcasts in America. They want me to get on like 7, 8 at night. By that time, I'm like, I've already had too much food. I've had a couple of smokes in my day. I'm just like, I'm empty energy, ready to go to bed. But yeah, mornings for me. My business partner though is the same. She can't wake up before 10, but she'll stay awake until 1 a.m. working around the computer. Just different kind of people, right? You're either a morning person or a night person. I love the morning personally because it's quiet. Like I like getting up in the morning. There's no one awake at 4. It's dark. I can hear the lions roaring. I hear the leopards roaring. I can hear the whole day. Like I can almost hear the sun come up with all the animals that start calling and moving around. So for me, like sitting there through that period when like it's basically you're hearing the day come to life, it like makes me feel really good.
Yeah. It sounds pretty good, but as we said in the beginning, definitely romanticize some because you always want to escape. You want to escape where you're at, but I'm pretty comfortable here, like where I'm at, and that would be a whole lot of change that would have to be enacted to go do that. I think it'd be worth it, but
It
that's
was a
it's also
sacrifice.
scary. Yeah,
It was a sacrifice I chose to make. But when I left the military, like I said, I left with moral injury. I left with actual back injury, surgery. My ankle was bust. I was on pain meds. I knew I had to get away from here or America and get away from like the veteran scene, suicides, alcohol. I was in like my old hometown again. That's where I was recruiting from in Savannah, Georgia. So like, there's a lot of history there. For me, I knew if I'd stayed, I would have fallen into bad ways. I would have got a job or would have found a way to justify why I didn't leave. So as soon as I could get out and get to it, I was like, just get out there and do it.
yeah. You can't get much
Jumpers hit
further.
it.
I mean, yeah, Joe, you can get further away, but I think you've got the best of both worlds because yeah,
I'm in
you're
the
out in the
middle.
middle of nowhere, but it's I know where you're at, and I have a concept of where you're staying because I've seen it and stuff. And then the other side of things in South Africa, the abject poverty, I've never seen before, unbelievable. So yeah, you're like, I'm living, I know it's that you're in, and it sounds pretty cool to me. Like you've got all of the benefits. Like your internet's been fantastic. Like you've got all the
I've got
benefits of the modern
high
society,
speed in there.
and you're
I've got my town. Town is full of nice restaurants and bars. I've got a nightlife. My friends are helicopter pilots. Like we have swimming pools. I live in an absolute gem of a town. We have no crime in my town because we're protected by the wilderness. For crime to happen, you've got to come from a township about 30 miles away from here, commit a crime in town, and then you've got to get out of town through the wilderness. Like we'll get you because they literally just call the ranger station, they'll put a roadblock up. So we're a weird bubble town that it makes it hard for crime to happen and get out, which keeps the crime away. And we're just so far away. So if someone listening South Africa, I'm on the top, basically northeast corner on the border of Mozambique and Zimbabwe. I like where I am in South Africa because of Johannesburg Airport. It's a 10-hour direct flight to Frankfurt. So if you're in Germany in the military, you're only 10 hours away. It's about the same flight I get to Thailand. I fly to Germany and over, and same for back to the US. I just fly up to Germany and then over. So as far as being like in the middle of the world for travel, I'm quite literally for my time moving around. I'm in the best place. America's half that way, Asia's halfway that way, Europe's up the road, and I'm at the bottom of the Africa. Can't go anywhere else south.
yeah, and winter doesn't
Everything is
really
this
get
way.
that wintry.
Yes, I'm in actually in winter now, so our winters are dry. So winter here is just the absence of rain. So like the Northeast in America, they get snow and everything dies and it's really just miserable. Here it's miserable that nothing is green outside. Everything looks like it's dead and the animals are hungry. The herbivores are starving. We won't get our rains until summertime in about November, December. So when it's cold in America, it's summertime here. So we do opposite seasons.
Did you guys get bad rains like they did last year? Because we were there whenever the Rugby World Cup was. We went for the Rugby World Cup, and then we came back down for the wedding, and then we went
Nice.
back up to Europe. Did you guys get the rains bad out there last year?
So Our rain where we are has been so. We're in a really weird pocket because we sit below the Drakensberg mountain range, so that causes its own weather. And then we rely on the weather to come from Mozambique coast, which is about 70 miles away that way. It's to the ocean. The last few years, it's just been same, but the whole rest of the country had massive rain and floods. So this year we're hoping we have really good rain. Like I said, being connected to nature and all. I've noticed this year it's not rainy season yet, but the last few nights the frogs have been singing, and the frogs feel barometric pressure in their skin. So the frogs are saying we feel rain coming, and then quite a few of the plants and trees around the house have started blooming early. And the same, the tree is able to like it can feel the change coming. So I'm hoping this year we get some good rain, but it's at South Africa, so who knows?
Oh man, you are plugged in down there.
I even told the wife, I was like, I heard the frogs singing one night. I was like, that's weird. And the second night I woke up like, Cass, you hear the frogs? She's like, yeah. I was like, it's not right. Because you got nature, right? You got to remember your little frog. Everything's trying to eat you. So if you don't make noise because stuff finds you and eats you. The only time you make noise is when you're trying to breed, because breeding takes over everything. So the frogs were telling me like, we don't care if we make noise and get eaten because we're gonna have sex. So they've decided to risk their hiding by shouting sex, sex at the top of their lungs. They only do that if they know rain is coming. Otherwise, it's just a wasted risk to them. So knowing that, I'm like, nature tells me rain is coming early this year.
That's beautiful, man. God. Well, again, you look extremely happy, and I'm happy for you that you've gotten that because you've had to have seen some bad things and had some bad times, and I'm happy you're out there doing that. And it's got to make you feel good. It's got to make you not only feel like you are still useful, but that you're doing actual good.
Yeah, 100%. Actually, the most rewarding thing now for me is when, like I said, veterans come out to come see. I know lots of American travelers, but American veterans always come out and they always have a great time because of my personal experience in this, and I know what we want from the trip. And that for me is super rewarding nowadays, like giving back to people that went through all the crap we went through. Regular army or Marines, just we all went through the same shared suffering because we believed in America. That's worth something. So yeah, this for me, like as happy as I am right now, like I love nothing more than giving this happiness and knowledge to people in this space where they get to also see my passion and understand it and be like, I I always try and get people to cry, which is always like I get the biggest, toughest guys to cry. Like it's either a sunset or like you've never heard lions laying by the vehicle roaring. Like it's awe. It very seldom do people experience true awe, which is where you're like mouth open, just like that's awe. I can give you that here quite often. Like the first big elephant you've never seen, where it's like right here by the vehicle, like lions roaring, like you've never seen it before. So that's awe. You're gonna be there, like so that's a really unique feeling that people will kind of forget about sometimes. Like the feeling of awe.
Yeah,
I'm
when
quite
you
often
see
in
an
awe. I
elephant,
do this all the time. I do this all the time. And I'm quite often in a new place. It's really pretty, and I'm looking over a landscape with no people. I'm the only person out there. I'm just kind of like, what? This is just like I'm the only person seeing this right now. It's like there's a feeling that comes with that, just kind of like witnessing it.
yeah, when you see an elephant for the first time and how massive they are, or when you, as you said, see the Milky Way and you go, "Oh man, what have I been missing my whole life here?"
So Ranger TV here is amazing because we do Ranger TV here with the fire, but you're under the stars. So everyone will come here and they'll talk, and then they're quite often staring at the fire or like they're leaning back looking at the stars because they're so bright and you can actually see them here. So like, the combination of the fire and the stars, like that's as human can be. That's hardwired into us. Like that's what our tribe has been doing for thousands of years. And that was the sound of lions in the background roaring and hyenas in the night. Like that for me is the most primal kind of like the fire is quite literally keeping you alive and it's keeping the danger away for the night, but you can hear it out there. It's yeah, it's rewarding.
Fuck yeah, man. I uh I got 5 questions here for you, and then I'll cut you loose, and we'll probably do another one someday down the road, or I'll
In
come there.
Africa, we're gonna do a live podcast in Africa when you come out here. That's what we're gonna be doing. Podcast from the bush.
Absolutely. I'm down. I'm on my way. Let me go pack my bags here. I don't need anything. I just all the Drovorce and biltong is there when I get there, so I'll
You
be
really
good.
don't need much in South Africa. You need a good pair of short shorts and like a neutral colored shirt, and that's it. You could be barefoot in the bush. Who cares?
All right, man. And maybe this one applied differently to where you're at, but and what you're doing. But what is your response to thank you for your service?
That's I had to think about it stop because usually quite often I say that to people being an asshole to stop veterans. I'm like, thank you for your service. Like, why are you saying that to me? I'm kind of like very thankful to people. I say usually like thank you for being thankful. Like, thank you for paying my bills. Thank you for all the javelin rocket launchers you paid for that I shot off at dumb stuff.
It probably
Taxpayer
doesn't come
dollars,
out.
man.
It probably doesn't come up where you're at either.
It doesn't come up much here. It's, well, I should actually be surprised, actually. It comes up quite a bit here. The South Africans are very drawn to the US military and our background and history. And I deal with quite a lot of US visitors and people that have houses here. So quite often they find out what I do and say, like, thank you for my service. Even out here is quite weird.
And what is the one characteristic that sets operators apart from the conventional forces?
Once upon a time, I would have said it was like a wildness, right? Like that kind of rogue, controlled rogueness is something that kind of went with it. You wanted a guy that was a bit of a brawler, a bit of a warrior, but like has that independent streak. You got to be able to operate in the gray. That's the biggest thing for being deployed to is SF. The army and traditional forces are it is or it isn't. Like can shoot, can't shoot. Very like black or white. When you get to SF and the ODAs, it's a gray world. Like you're gonna have to make the decision based upon what you believe is like your rogue kind of personality. So like a bit of that rogueness is definitely needed to be an operator. I think if we get rid of that, then we're just regular army guys. Like there's certain bravado that goes with this character.
What is the one moment of your career that you wish you could go back and relive or redo and it wouldn't change where you are now?
That's a hard one, actually. I don't know. I wouldn't. You know what? I wouldn't mind going back for SF graduation again or the Q course. And I think I watched one of your videos talking about this. Now I'm 40 years old. I'm all about my fitness and healthy eating and taking it all seriously. I went through the Q course and SF as a in my 20s, coming from war. I was wild, out of control. I was drinking. I wasn't eating good. Like I wasn't taking it seriously. I was probably drunk and hungover when my SF graduation happened because I was trying to get laid the morning. Like it's just a mess. I would like to now a bit older go back and take my graduation a bit more seriously and kind of enjoy the moment. And same for the Q course. It was one of the funnest times before it got crazy, right? Like should have taken it for what it was and enjoyed it more.
Yeah, it's a it's not a purgatory because you can't stay there, but it's this weird in limbo space between, especially coming from the regular army and group. And that's a place you got to learn. It's designed for you to pass if you just do what they tell you to do. But man, everybody, even younger than me, and then everybody older than me, going through the course in the 2000s, go, oh yeah. What do you do for your like diet and exercise and workout plan and all this? Oh yeah, we get hammered every night in between classes. And did you work out? Oh yeah, we still worked out. Ate like shit. We just
That's how
show
I
up.
remember it.
Just the worst way of going about trying to pass this thing. And oh, would you do that now? I mean, I recommend not doing it now, but I would still have done the same thing if I went through. Like, there's no doubt, no doubt. Yeah, take it more seriously. All right, man. What is the best piece of advice that you received during your career?
That's a hard one. I'm not sure on that. Best piece of advice. I don't know on that one. I can't. No one real bit stands out. I'm like, oh my god, this seared into my brain. I know. I can't think of one on that one. One bit that's really stood out more than anything else.
Do you have a best piece of advice that you tell people?
I mean, people ask me how to part. I have quite a few kids actually message me on Instagram asking me how to be SF and all that kind of stuff. Like, and I was a recruiter as well, right? So I was also actually lots of SF guys in the regiment do SF stuff. There's very few SF recruiters. We're a dime a dozen. At any one time, there's only 3 of us. So like of all the guys in SF, very few of them actually being SF recruiters. So like we are like that interface between the army. Like I've seen every fit person try and get in and fail. So I've given probably more advice on how to pass SF than most people. And I will say down like it comes down to grit. Some people have it, some people don't. Grit is the ability to keep going when things suck. Um, you can be the fittest person in the world, and I saw so many studs go to selection and fail. They didn't have mental grit. You have to have the mental grit. You can't have mental grit and be out of shape, because that doesn't work either. Like there's a perfect combination you have to have, like just not giving up and understanding what you're going there for. It's tough, but actually not the worst thing. It was really hard, but actually wasn't the worst thing looking back on it. I just stick it out. It just grit. Know why you're going there for. If you want to go SF, know why you're going. If you're just going to go, then you aren't gonna pass it. If you've been reading SF books and SAS books and like you're already manifesting that you're gonna be a Green Beret, then you're probably on the right path to get there.
Last one, man. What were you afraid of then, and what are you afraid of now?
Although afraid of my army career, just like everyone else, DUIs and piss tests. Um, It's the
Allegedly.
biggest, scariest thing to the
Allegedly.
army, right? Allegedly asking for a friend. But really, military career, like that's the biggest thing you kind of fear, right? Is just anytime you try and have any fun in the military outside in the weekend, like it's for real, the whole career. You're going to drink and have fun as soldiers. There's a certain amount of fuckery that comes with that, be it fighting, bullshit, or like having to drive back from someone's party. Like, especially in the infantry units or combat arms, like they are goddamn combat armed soldiers. And there's a certain amount of just stupidness and gruntness that goes with that. I feel like later in my career they were trying to remove that from the infantry. Like, don't misbehave, don't drink, don't fight in the barracks. Like they're goddamn infantry soldiers. Like if you read any book about soldiers as old as time, it's like fighting and drunk. Like you want them to do that. I want young aggressive men to punch each other in the face and fight in the weekends. So when I unleash them in war, like I have my warriors. If I don't cultivate that, then I've just got a bunch of soft people who've never like been in the fight before in the barracks. Now I'm taking them to combat. So that's kind of one I have there with that one.
And now?
And now I'm not afraid of, or not so much anymore.
No, what are you
That was the
afraid
question,
of
right?
now?
What am I afraid of now? Not much, to tell the truth, actually. Not, I don't really have too many fears nowadays, to tell the truth. If I had to be honest, I'm taking really good care of my health. I'm happy in my job. I really, yeah, I really don't have. That's kind of actually nice to look into, because a few years back I probably would have had some money issues or fears about my non-profit or like who I am. But right now in life, like, I'm really truly happy. I don't have any fear for anything.
Think what you're doing and where you're at and how you're doing it probably lends to that, what you just said, not really having any fears of anything.
And what maybe it's the ability now, like you said, the ability from being around these dangerous things and being able to choose when to be fearful and confront it has also changed my whole perspective on what is scary in life and what isn't scary. So I don't really have nothing's trying to eat me or kill me right now. So like what fear would I have? I'm in my happy
Tomorrow's
place.
another
No one
day.
can take that away from me. Yeah, no, aliens, right? That's the only other thing. Maybe aliens, which is coming. So actually, the biggest scary things for me as a risk assessment, that I do actually truly fear, is AGI, the artificial general intelligence. Like it's coming. It's AI is just predictive text writing. We as humans are busy right now trying to bring into creation through like basically Ouija board a super intelligent being. People think that because it's in the computer, it's just a computer. Like it's AGI. It's going to be artificial general. It's going to be smarter than some of all humans combined. It's going to read everything about us and everything we've ever done. Like if it's not human, why would it be like, oh, humans are great? You're like all the other species you guys are terrible for. So like the fact that we're summoning AGI right now is a fear for me. That's actually why I say a fear for me right now. Why I stay in shape to this day. My biggest fear right now is AGI. I fear that AGI will come governments will be forced to unleash it upon the other government that doesn't have it first, and that will lead to like that banking shutdown I said, or catastrophic shutdown of the internet, which will kind of put us back into that like, how do I get my pension now I'm in Africa away from home kind of vibe. So that is a real fear I have right now, is based upon what I'm reading and seeing. There's lots of people in the industry now saying like, once it comes online, it's not going to be good for us.
No, it's over. But I lump that in as there's nothing to worry about there. It's going to happen, just like I'm going to die someday. Like that's going to happen. Like I don't
I'm
have to
not
worry about
opposed
it.
to it. Yeah, I'm like, me and you both kind of grew up for the 80s and 90s phase. I was in the military before cell phones. It was just freaking great. I've seen what it's like to be before the phone age. Even when I got to SF, I had the first iPhone 1, which will tell you that it just came out at the military on post, and I got it when I got to team. So that's how new it was when I first got to teams. There was no real good camera pictures. Everything you were doing on the weekends and deployed, no one was really taking photos. And if they were, it was on a digital camera. And even then, we're like, no photos. But even then, like just like key little shots things. Now it's omnipresent in everything we do. It's kind of in all our business. And I'm watching, even me myself, who knows the algorithms are bad. I've let the algorithm just have fun for a day and just go down the rabbit hole and see how bad it'll get. Oh my god, that it can destroy you real quick. So for people that aren't aware of that and just in the hole without even knowing, like, I think losing it would probably be good for humans. We just go back to phone books and contacts and calling people. I feel the social media thing right now is a detriment to us.
Yeah, we're gonna see where it goes. I have very little I can do to influence it, so we're gonna see where it goes.
Yeah, so that's my only fear right now. Would be that coming about and just kind of having to adjust from that and whatever comes from that.
All right, brother. How can everybody find you on the socials if they so choose?
Yep. So I'm on Instagram as Kevin.Pip. You can find me there. And then my Safari company is Wild Works, spelled like the military way, WERX. Because it was a play on like we have Softworks and Navworks. So we don't have a Wild Works for conservation. So kind of a play on words, but it works really well for branding. Yeah. So I'm online as Wild Works. We have a webpage, also on Instagram as well. Um, Quickest way to reach out to me is through the Instagram, just Kevin.Pip. If you've got an inquiry about safaris, reach out to me and we can go from there. But
Fuck yeah, man. I really enjoyed talking with you today or tonight for you. I'm going to go hit the gym, I think, or do something here, continue to work. But I really enjoyed talking to you. It was nice to meet you. And thank you for coming on the show.
thank you for having me, man. And like I said, I really like your channel, what you're doing, getting like all these old SF dudes like myself out from the weeds and onto the channel. Keep up consistency. Like I really do like your channel, and like your videos and content are great. Just it'll pop one day and it's gonna take off. But yeah, keep up, man. I really like it.
I'll do my best. I'll do
See
my
see
best
you
to
in
help.
Africa for a podcast one day in the future, I guess, right?
I mean, I'm coming there eventually. I just don't know when it's going to be. You got to get it on a schedule. If it's not on my schedule, I'm not going to do it. So I guess I got to go figure that out. Maybe I'll work on that today. Bye, everybody.